Chapter 689. Fourth Realm, Blood Haze Realm. Lin Feng was familiar with it. His luck was quite good. As soon as he entered, a blood haze heavenly demon pounced at him. The 2-meter-tall monster had no scales. Its body seemed to be made of mercury. It was soft and shapeless, like a demon that crawled out from the blood haze realm. It was not easy to deal with it that day, because it had the profound meaning of fog and the geographical advantage. Because the blood haze heavenly demon had an undying body, the blood-colored bubbles on the ground emitted a disgusting blood-red color. It was the blood haze heavenly demon's source of energy. More than 99% of its energy merged with the environment. The remaining 1% turned into its body, like clouds and fog, formless and indefinite. Lin Feng smiled, his eyes sharp. The black blade in his hand followed him like a shadow. Just by raising his hand, the concept of saber fell clearly. After seeing all kinds of sword heart and fist heart, Lin Feng's saber technique was now close to the peak of the 12th realm. He was no longer confused about the path to saber heart. Fourth move of the 7 limits, hail, crack, crack. The blood haze heavenly demon shattered the moment it was frozen. Even the blood-colored bubbles on the ground turned into hail in an instant. Relying on the unique ability of blood and fog, it was called the hellish 4th realm of demons. In front of Lin Feng, it was like child's play. He directly entered the 5th realm. There was no need to find the entrance, because Lin Feng had entered the 5th realm last time. The blood slaughter token already had memories. Unfortunately, his strength was limited. He was defeated the moment he entered the 5th realm and was sent back to the Blood Fiend Temple. But this time, Peng. Wherever the saber passed, the moon haze heavenly demon's strange and tricky attacks directly shattered. The 4th move of the 7 limits, hail, could be said to be the nemesis of fog energy. The so-called formless and colorless was useless in front of hail. In fact, the moon haze heavenly demon's current strength was not enough to stop Lin Feng. The Blood Fiend world is actually a furnace of strength. The stronger you are, the higher you can climb. Lin Feng took out a moon haze sacred pearl. This was a sacred pearl formed by Yin energy and fog energy. Even if the fog energy was not counted, just the Yin energy contained within. It was one level higher than the cold sacred pearl of the 3rd realm. Good. Lin Feng smiled. 2 days later. Good luck. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. After obtaining 431 moon sacred pearls, he successfully found the entrance to the 6th realm. For 31 moon-long Saint Pearls. Compared to the 10,000 pure Yin Saint Pearls from back then, the amount of Yin energy they contained was far greater. Little Yin has just reached the 8th level of the essence condensation stage. After absorbing all 431 moon-long sacred pearls, it should increase by 70%. With the addition of 1475 chilling sacred pearls, he is almost at the 9th stage of condensing essence stage. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. Just as he had guessed previously, he could obtain many things he wanted in the Bloody Termination world. This place was not just a furnace for strength. It was a treasure trove. Of course, that was only for himself. To most of the core members, the Bleak Saint Pearl and the Moon Hazy Saint Pearl could only be sold. What's in the 6th realm? Lin Feng was very curious. Whoosh! The scene in front of him changed. It was bloody and hazy. There was a bone-chilling cold wind. It was like another hell. Lin Feng didn't care. His gaze quickly swept the surroundings, sensing the vile environment, and he more or less understood it in his heart. The 4th realm, Blood Haze Realm, is the combination of blood energy and fog energy. The 5th realm, Hazy Moon Realm, is the combination of fog energy and Yin energy. Then the Realm of Darkness is most likely the combination of blood energy and Yin energy. The Dark Nether Sacred Pearl here should contain more Yin energy than the Moon Hazy Saint Pearl. Lin Feng's expression was calm. Although he had never seen the Dark Nether Demon in the 6th realm, he could more or less guess its strength. The 3 realms are 1 level. The first 3 realms are suitable for 7 blood assassins. The middle three realms are suitable for 8 blood assassins. The sixth realm, Dark Nether Demon's battle power, should be at the peak of the 8 blood assassins. Hiss! The ferocious heavenly fiend, Yu Shue's entire body was covered in blood-colored blades. The most terrifying thing was its 6 arms that were like blood blades. It was impossible to guard against them, and its attack power was abnormally strong. It was not as elusive as the Blood Haze Heavenly Demon and the Moon Haze Heavenly Demon, but its strength was the strongest among them. There were no shortcuts when it came to dealing with Heavenly Devil UAO. What was best was attacking, and attacking continuously. It does fit the concept of saber. Lin Feng raised his black stallion. Yu Shui Heavenly Demon Saber Technique realm was also not bad. It had reached the peak of the 11th level, and its attacks were mixed with strength techniques. The Dark Talisman Demon Clan. With 6 bloody arms, the Yu Shui Heavenly Demon's attack speed was extremely fast. If one were to fight it head-on, they would definitely be courting death. 6 blades against 1 blade, it was as if 6 people were attacking at the same time. Normal 8 blood top assassins are probably no match for it. Newly Broken Sea. Lin Feng's saber. Fast and fierce. A cold light flashed. No matter how strange Heavenly Demon Yu Shui's attacks were, or how many sabers he had, he could not withstand the impact of absolute power. In an instant, there was a tragic scream. He turned into blood and dissipated, leaving behind a holy UAO pearl. Pa! Lin Feng grabbed it and smiled. Just as he expected, in the bloody evil world, the energy of each realm was increasing. The combat power of the Heavenly Demon was also increasing. Lin Feng was looking for the entrance to the 7th realm while collecting the holy UAO pearl. He was not in a hurry. There was still a long way to go before Xiao Yun's strength reached the 9th level of the Essence Condensation realm. She needed a lot of holy UAO pearls. There are 3 major tribulations on the path of transformation. The Essence Condensation Lightning Tribulation is the last one. There should be 27 lightning tribulations, but when it comes to me, it will definitely be more than that. Lin Feng smiled. In the Transformation Lightning Tribulation, he had already endured 27 lightning tribulations. The Essence Condensation Lightning Tribulation, it would definitely be more than 27. There should be no problem. With my current strength, I can withstand it. As long as I survive the Essence Condensation Lightning Tribulation, not only will my thunder aptitude increase by leaps and bounds, my strength, it will also reach a higher level. Boom! Lin Feng killed another UAO Heavenly Demon easily. The 300th one. Lin Feng took the holy UAO pearl, and his eyes lit up. His efficiency was decreasing. It was not that Lin Feng's killing speed decreased, but the number of UAO Heavenly Demons decreased. The more energy it contains, the fewer Heavenly Demons formed. Lin Feng also understood. Just as the number of pure AO pearls in the Crimson Pool was much less than the pure blood in pure mist, it was the same in the bloody evil world. The 6th realm obtained about 1,500 UAO pearls per day, while the 5th realm obtained more than 1,000 UAO pearls per day. There was a difference in numbers, but in terms of energy and value, the 6th realm was still much better. It's the 4th day. Lin Feng looked around. Until now, he had obtained more than 5,000 UAO pearls. Another 2,000 or so. It should be enough. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up as he sped along. The entrance to the 7th realm finally appeared. Chapter 690. Beginner, Yin Gui Realm. Lin Feng knew the 9 realms of the Blood Realm very well. The 7th realm was the Yin Gui Realm. The so-called Yin Gui referred to the fusion of Yin and water. It was the way of Yin Gui. All the true Yin holy Qi was derived from the energy of heaven and earth, Yin and Yang, and the 5 elements. Blood and mist came from the 5 elements of water and were derived from it. Lin Feng felt even more comfortable when he came to this area with dense Yin Gui, Saint Qi. The absorption of heaven and earth energy far exceeded the 6th realm. I still need about 2,000 sacred Yuyan pearls to reach the limit of the prime condensation realm. Lin Feng looked around for the existence of the Yin Gui demon. The Yin Gui pearl must be stronger than the sacred Yuyan pearl. I believe I can get enough energy in the 7th realm to improve Xiao Yun's strength. He sped along. Soon, Lin Feng found traces of the Yin Gui demon. Basically, it was not difficult. Beginner 9 blood combat power. Lin Feng moved. He did not use his titanium gray body. With his current strength, it was more than enough to deal with a beginner 9 blood opponent. An ugly monster with a craggy face looked over with its cold eyes. Whoosh! It flowed like water and came over. Its scales were like fish scales. The air around it formed water ripples. The beginner Yin Gui demon followed the demon's habits and mainly fought in close combat. The strength of the holy qi was clear as soon as it appeared. The strength of the holy qi was thick and the water ripples contained a strong yin qi. It was like a soft knife hidden at all times. It was completely different from before. It's a true fusion of holy qi. Lin Feng was shocked. Previously, whether it was the Blood Haze Heavenly Demon, the Moon Haze Heavenly Demon, or the Yu Shui Heavenly Demon, they had simply combined 2 types of Saint Qi into one to form a mysterious or unique power. But the Yin Gui Heavenly Demon was different. Its attacks contained the true Yin Gui Saint Qi and were inseparable. But it's still a beginner 9 blood combat power. Lin Feng's knife fell. Qi roared. The bullhorns came from the 7 limits of the Qiyu clan, one of the most powerful bloodlines of the demons. His combat strength was like the might of the heavens. Lin Feng's saber was burning with raging flames. He had used the 5th move of the 7 limits, Raging Inferno. It was an extremely intense burning, using fire to fight water. But he was fearless. Bang! The flame of the saber. The ugly face let out a hoarse and pained expression. Instantly, Lin Feng's saber descended once more, directly killing the early stage Yin Gui Sky Fiend. But in that instant, Lin Feng was stunned. What came at him was the familiar energy of heaven and earth, just like in the glory realm. In an instant, it vanished into thin air. The Yin Gui Saint Pearl did not appear in front of him as he expected. Instead, it was a black seed-like unknown object. What is this? Lin Feng took it. Frowning, he stared at the strange black object in his hand that was the size of a pomegranate seed. He couldn't feel the existence of any Yin Gui energy. It was just like a simple seed. After carefully observing it for a while, Lin Feng still didn't find anything. Thus, he put it into his bag. Maybe it's special. 2nd head, 3rd head, 4th head. Lin Feng's killing speed was quite fast. The early stage Yin Gui Sky Fiend strength was not enough to stop him. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 Yin Gui Sky Fiends were killed. However, after each of them died, only a black seed was left. There was not a single Yin Gui Saint Pearl. After taking the black seed, Lin Feng no longer had any doubts. Once or twice might be a coincidence, but if it was the same after 10 times, then it was definitely the same answer. Maybe it has a special effect. That's true. The price of the 6th realm's Nether Ember Sacred Pearl is already very high. 9 blood assassins and even 8 blood top assassins can kill their way to the 7th realm. Even if the Blood Tower's wealth is comparable to the Blood Tower's wealth, but the 7th, 8th, and 9th realms increase the efficiency of earning money at every realm. That's too terrifying. Lin Feng secretly estimated. After all, the number of core members of the Blood Tower, more than 100. If I cultivate in the 7th realm, I will lose quite a bit of money. However, Lin Feng's gaze landed in front of him. Another Yin Gui Sky Fiend was charging at him. The black tortoise in his hand was brimming with battle intent. There are gains and losses. Plus, the energy of heaven and earth when killing Yin Gui Sky Fiends. Boom! Lin Feng's blade fell, and the Yin Gui Sky Fiend was instantly turned into ashes. Hiss, hiss, Lin Feng quickly absorbed. With a whirlpool body and Little Yun's Yin-terminating physique, the absorption efficiency in a short period of time was terrifying. Lin Feng's mouth curved into a smile. Feeling the improvement of his talent soul and earth soul, he was very satisfied. The seventh realm was a good place. The eighth realm. This time, Lin Feng's luck was good. He only spent 1 day to enter the eighth realm. Faced with mid-stage Yin Gui Sky Fiend, Lin Feng battled with the Yin Gui Heavenly Devil in front of him. It was the same Yin Gui Heavenly Devil, but its appearance had changed. The eighth realm Yin Gui Heavenly Devil was more feminine and sharp like a thorn. Its pair of cold eyes lacked the smoothness of the seventh realm and had a piercing look. Moreover, its Yin Gui Saint energy was mainly Yin and supplemented by water. Peng. Lin Feng was repelled. This was the result of not using titanium-grade body. A 9-blood, ordinary mid-stage, Yin Gui Sky Fiend was quite strong. Huff. Lin Feng sighed softly. He felt the Yin Gui energy coming through the meridians in his hands. It was like a soul-devouring, poisonous snake, but the true dragon, Saint energy, directly dissolved it. Its Yin Gui Saint energy is stronger than the seventh realm in both control and fusion. Whoosh! In front of him, the mid-stage Yin Gui Sky Fiend roared and charged. Lin Feng's eyes flickered as he raised his black skeleton high up in the air, as if he was possessed by Chi-Yu. The powerful strength of landslide erupted in an instant. Combined with the profound meaning of weightlessness, the new landslide's might reached its limit. The fast and accurate blade was heavy and without a sharp edge, falling down like a huge mountain range. Boom! Lin Feng absorbed the energy of heaven and earth. It's more than twice as much as the seventh realm. The abundant energy of heaven and earth disappeared in an instant, but more than half of it was absorbed by Lin Feng. The whirlpool body and the Yin-terminating body were like two magnets, quickly absorbing the energy. Lin Feng's gaze landed in front of him. Another strange black object was floating in the air. It's a bit bigger, but I still can't tell. Lin Feng observed for a while, and then put the strange black object away. Eighth level of Zizhou. What we lose at the swings, we gain at the swings. Lin Feng smiled. Although he couldn't enter the 10-blood passage to cultivate, his cultivation speed here wasn't slow at all. Compared to the Saint Pearls with stronger energy, he preferred the energy of heaven and earth similar to the Glory Alliance. After all, this was what he urgently needed. As for the Saint Pearls of Yin, it was fine as long as he had enough. I'm still short of 2,000. I'll have enough after 3 to 4 hours of fighting in the sixth realm. Lin Feng nodded. No need to go through so much trouble. I'll just use my blood kill points to buy some. Laughing, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Looking at the final entrance to the ninth realm, his figure flashed and stepped in happily. Chapter 691. Fusion of Holy Qi. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. Killing the Yin Gui demon at the high level of the ninth realm absorbed more heaven and earth energy than the eighth realm. But Lin Feng's mind was no longer here. From his seventh realm to the ninth realm, the 3 types of Yin Gui Holy Qi had 3 completely different forms. The difference was huge. The seventh realm Yin Gui Holy Qi is mainly water and is supplemented by Yin. It's more of the Tao of blood and fog. It's like a poison knife, but the existence of a knife serves the poison. The 8th level of Yin Gui Holy Qi is mainly Yin and is supplemented by water. Compared to the 7th level, the fusion is closer, just like a pair of jade lovers who respect each other. However, in the energy level of heaven and earth, Yin and Yang Qi surpasses the energy of the 5 elements. Therefore, Yin Gui Holy Qi is mainly Yin. The 9th realm, Yin Gui Holy Qi, is truly perfect. Perfect fusion. The attack of the high-level Yin Gui demon appeared in front of Lin Feng's eyes. The Yin Gui Holy Qi was completely integrated, as if every cell had been completely integrated. There is no more Yin Holy Qi, no more Water Holy Qi, only Yin Gui Holy Qi. This is a true perfect fusion, Lin Feng said to himself. According to Elder Wen's fusion evaluation, the 7th realm is barely, the 8th realm is normal, and the 9th realm is perfect. Hall Master Jian and Ao Jianhui. Both of them fused normally. He had been confused because there was no difference to refer to. But in this bloody, evil world from the 7th realm to the 9th realm, Lin Feng finally understood. Actually, before the real fusion, you could try to fuse the two types of holy qi first to increase the experience of fusion. Didn't Titan do the same back then? Although that was the case, Lin Feng knew that it was not easy, because the fusion of the nether holy qi was complete. For the nether holy qi formed by darkness and thunder, the nether holy qi only needed to control the soul of the earth. But a normal nether holy qi master, he needed to control the dark holy qi, the thunder holy qi, and the soul of the earth. The soul of the earth could be simplified a little, but at least he could multitask. Finally, he had to consider the battle. It was too difficult. But there's no harm in trying. Lin Feng nodded. None of this would be in vain. Even if he couldn't unleash its true power in battle, he could at least master the fusion of holy qi, which would give him more experience when he broke through to become a Nemo. Of course, it would be best if the fusion was successful. There shouldn't be a problem. After all, my innate soul is very strong. Thunder Dragon Holy Qi, Dark Devil Holy Qi. Controlling two different types of energy, Lin Feng suddenly realized that the most crucial problem came from the Heart Sutra. The two types of holy qi were already unequal, and so were their mental skills. It was extremely difficult to control it. The quality of holy qi is different. Different types of holy qi are controlled differently. And the most important thing is the exclusivity of holy qi. We need to find a common point to guide it. It was easier said than done. Lin Feng was glad that he had come to the 9th realm of the Blood Fiend world and witnessed the true perfect fusion. Otherwise, if he tried to fuse the Saint Qi blindly, he would only be able to achieve a normal fusion even with the help of the Heart of Glory and the true Dragon Saint Force. No one or no warrior has ever successfully fused Holy Qi of Light and Holy Qi of Darkness. Lin Feng thought of the experiment 2 days ago and couldn't help but smile bitterly. The two types of holy qi were polar opposites. They were two extremes, and when they came into direct contact, they would reject each other. The result of the forced fusion was boom. It directly exploded. It was better to die in glory than to live in dishonor. It's embarrassing to be injured by my own holy qi. Lin Feng smiled. Then he tried to fuse the Dark Devil Holy Qi and Thunder Dragon Holy Qi again. In comparison, he was more confident with the Nether Holy Qi. Moreover, he had come into contact with it before, and the two types of Holy Qi were more similar. While fusing the Holy Qi, he killed high-level Ingui demons to increase his strength. Lin Feng wasn't idle. Unknowingly, he had obtained more and more black seeds from killing Ingui demons. Although he didn't know what they were for, he took them all. Anyway, anything that could appear in the 9th realm of the Blood Fiend world was definitely not ordinary. Sizzle. Sizzle. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. The true pupil Holy Qi precisely controlled the two types of Holy Qi. Reaching a delicate balance, the Thunder Dragon Holy Qi and the Dark Holy Qi merged together like two fried dough twists. There was no resonance point, but it was forcefully controlled by power. After a few days of continuous training, he could already reach the level of attacking at the same time. Although it's just a forced fusion, the attack power has more than doubled. Lin Feng was very satisfied. For example, originally he only used the Thunder Dragon Holy Qi to attack the enemy, but suddenly he had the power of the Dark Devil Holy Qi, which was impossible to defend against. To be exact, my fusion level now hasn't even reached the 7th realm. But it proves one thing. For Holy Qi fusion, the control of Holy Qi is useful, especially the true pupil Holy Qi. The true pupil Holy Qi could see through everything. It had special auxiliary abilities that the true dragon Holy Qi didn't have, including precise control of the titanium gray body. Now the Holy Qi fusion is more difficult than the real fusion. It was only after experiencing and failing that Lin Feng finally understood. When he broke through to become a Nemo, it was a simple fusion, a natural fusion. But now it was a deliberate fusion, and he had to use the soul of the earth to attack, control, and deal with the enemy. It was far more difficult than the breakthrough. So if I can complete the perfect fusion under normal conditions without any mistakes, when I break through, I'll definitely be able to complete the perfect fusion. Lin Feng's heart was in his heart. Back to the seventh realm. Lin Feng chose to advance step by step. Just like the improvement of the sword technique, it was impossible to reach the 12th realm in one go. The fusion of the 9th realm was too complicated. After cultivating and pondering for a few days, Lin Feng decided to go down the path steadily. He would rather spend more effort to build a solid foundation, because the first step was often the most important. I'll follow the 3 fusion states of the bloody, evil world and do it one by one. First, I'll complete the forced fusion without relying on the true pupil holy chi, just like what Titan did that day. As for the level of power, Lin Feng wasn't worried. The heaven and earth energy released by the Yin Gui demons here wasn't any less than the glory world. Plus, the Yin Gui energy was dense. By the time he reached the level of perfect fusion, his power level would probably have climbed to the peak of the 9th realm of Zizhou. But before that, there was still one more thing to solve. Ao Jianwei. Lin Feng held He Tong tightly. His eyes were firm. His sword slashed across. A beginner Yin Gui demon couldn't resist at all and exploded with a bang. Lin Feng's nether holy chi had begun to take shape. It was gradually on the path of forced fusion. When I reached the 9th realm of Zizhou and formed the normal fusion state, that's the day I come out of seclusion. Chapter 692. War. A battle with hidden gunpowder had begun. Many blood assassins were slaughtered in Eastcom continent. No one knew what had happened. In less than a month, the number of people in Blood Tower 3 had decreased by a quarter. Only 40 people were left. Lord Lin Feng hasn't come out yet. Damn it, let's fight those bastards from the God Nirvana sect. What's there to be afraid of? None of us in Blood Tower 3 are cowards. Gulan also felt a headache coming on. Everyone, don't worry. The 5th Hall Master will give us an answer. Endure it for now and cultivate in the tower. Don't carry out any more missions. Gulan was still calm. He had seen many storms and waves. He had a better view of the big picture than the normal blood assassins. Brother Lan, how long do we have to endure it? Yeah, those bastards from the God Nirvana sect killed our brothers. I want to kill them. Gulan sighed. Most of the people in Blood Tower 3 were newcomers. They were hot-blooded and couldn't resist provocation. Qian Ren, Xiao Ying, and the other seniors were calm. They knew the origin of this matter and how to solve it. Either they relied on the prestige of the 5th Hall Master and the Blood Tower, or they needed the one who started the trouble to untie it. Blood Tower 3 was waiting. However, the one who came was Lord Ba. Yun Xing's face was ashen, and even Hong Ying, who was always full of smiles and seduction, had a frosty expression. The 5 Hall Masters started a meeting. This time, it wasn't just the 5 of them. All the 9 and 10 Blood Elders were present. Big news. Who can endure it? Who can't? I'm going crazy. Hong Ying showed a rare side of her. She gritted her teeth so hard that they almost broke. The 4 Hall Masters also frowned, especially Lord Ba and Yun Xing, who came to negotiate with Hong Ying, had ugly expressions. First, they were ignored by Ao Jianwei for a few hours. Then, Shanshan came late and didn't take them seriously. It didn't matter if the negotiation broke down. The most infuriating thing was that the moment they stepped out of the restaurant, Ning Muhan, his corpse was exposed on the city tower. They had no face left. You have 7 days to hand over Lin Feng. Otherwise, don't blame me for turning against you. His expression of wanton disdain was deeply imprinted in the hearts of Lord Ba and the other 2. Hong Ying was so angry that she flipped out on the spot. If not for Ba Yi and Yun Xing, who remained calm in their anger. At this moment, it was likely that weapons had already clashed and rivers of blood had already flowed. Hong Ying, being impulsive, won't solve the problem. Lord Ba sighed. Don't fall for his provocation. Bone King said coldly, as a blood assassin, you either kill or be killed. Whether it's Kuang Niu, Ning Muhan, or the other blood assassins killed by the Divine Nirvana sect, there's no one to blame if their skills are inferior. The elders whispered to each other as they continued their discussion. Bone King's words were not without reason. Those who killed would be killed by others. This had been the case since ancient times. Annihilate the god Nirvana sect. Black Bear's eyes widened. Our blood tower is being trampled on. Sigh, everyone sighed. The reason why the god Nirvana sect can become the second largest sect is because of the Ao family. Yun Xing said, the Ao family of the Nirvana world dominates a region, and that's why the Nirvana god sect was able to rise to power in just a few thousand years. Because they have the elite geniuses of the Ao family, the Ao family's secret arts, and their unique sword Dao, Ao Jianhui, is not afraid at all. Not only that, they also have the advantage of public opinion. Lord Ba said, annihilating the god Nirvana sect is not difficult, but killing Ao Jianhui is very difficult. The Blood Tower's reputation in the 33 continents is not good, and it can't be compared to the god Nirvana sect. Think about it. What will happen if the god Nirvana sect is annihilated? There was silence. The elders' frowns deepened. If I were Ao Jianhui, I would raise my arms and shout, gather the righteous martial artists and fight against the Blood Tower to the end. Bone King said coldly, the Blood Tower has always been surrounded by danger. After all, assassins are not recognized by the people. Annihilating the Blood Tower is just a lack of a suitable leader. The Blood Tower of the 33 continents is not a problem. What I'm most afraid of is the Blood Tower that will affect the Nirvana world. Lord Ba frowned. The Ao family was extremely powerful in the Nirvana world. Then what? Are we going to swallow this anger? Hong Ying's eyes widened. Even if she was angry, there was a different charm to her. What do you think? Bone King frowned. Hong Ying clenched her teeth and didn't say a word. Although she was angry, she still had a reason. Bone King's words were rough but reasonable. What he said was true. If the Blood Tower went to war, it wouldn't benefit them at all. Even if they annihilated the god Nirvana sect, as long as Ao Jianhui didn't die, the Ao family would support them. After a few decades, a new god Nirvana sect would rise again. This won't do. That won't do. What should we do? He Xiong said anxiously. Everyone looked at each other. Suddenly, kill. The cold and majestic words fell on the ground, causing everyone to be silent. Whoosh, the door was pushed open, and a figure with cold blade intent stepped in. Lin Feng? It's Lin Feng. The crowd was in an uproar. Lin Feng went straight to the crowd, not hiding the killing intent between his eyebrows. Don't argue anymore. I will solve my own problem. Ao Jianhui is looking for me. It has nothing to do with the Blood Tower. Even if he doesn't look for me, I will look for him. It's time to settle the grudges. Lin Feng suppressed the anger in his heart. As soon as he came out of seclusion, he heard a lot of bad news. Blood Tower 3 was suppressed. Sister Ning died tragically. Ao Jianhui provoked the Blood Tower. All these things started because of him, so he should end them. No, Lord Ba said. Lin Feng, Yun Xing frowned. Count me in. He Xiong roared, pounding his chest with his right fist. Me too. Hong Ying's red dress fluttered. I've had enough. I can't take this lying down. Lin Feng shook his head. You can't go. Lin Feng said. The Fifth Hall Master is the foundation of the Blood Tower. Once you join, you will represent the Blood Tower to declare war on the god Nirvana sect. The consequences will be unpredictable. I don't want to implicate the entire Blood Tower because of me. This matter should be decided by me. It's too dangerous. Lord Ba shook his head. No, Lin Feng, you alone. Yun Xing advised. Of course he won't be alone. Holding a harmonica in her hand, Shi Manzi, who was dressed similarly to Hong Ying, walked in. She bowed to Hong Ying and said, since Master is unable to go, your disciple will do it on his behalf. Like Lin Feng, I belong to the Glory Alliance's trump card army. There is no need to fear the Ao family. Swish! A cold sword intent spread throughout the hall. Shui Shui, who was wearing a white robe, walked in. Her face was as cold as ice. Me too. Oomph. At the back of the hall, Ronghua's hands were burning like flames. His eyes were filled with hostility as he stared at Lin Feng. Count me in. Looking at the crowd, Lin Feng's heart was filled with warmth. As Hong Ying said, They were different from the masters and elders of the Blood Tower Palace. They were young and aggressive and did not have so many scruples. They also could not represent the Blood Tower. They belonged to the Ace Army of the Glory Alliance and did not need to be afraid of the AO family in the Nirvana world. I won't say any words of thanks. I will remember your help today. Lin Feng's eyes swept across the crowd. Let's go. Kill our way to the god Nirvana Mountain. Chapter 693. Dark God Mountain. The blessed paradise of the 33 continents. The place where the energy of heaven and earth gathered. This place was the dream of all cultivators in the 33 continents. The Dark God sect, ranked second among the 10 great sects, was located here. The mountain range was like a giant standing proudly at the peak of the 33 continents. However, it wasn't easy to enter the Dark God Mountain. Trying to barge in was akin to courting death. But today, however, there were 4 figures that stepped into this area. Stop! The Nirvana God sect disciples guarding the foot of the mountain stopped him with their swords, their brows raised in arrogance. The Dark God sect's disciple recruitment has already ended. Go back to where you came from. As they spoke, their gazes unconsciously stopped on Shimanzi. Still not leaving? There are plenty of people like you every year. Is the Dark God sect a place you can enter just because you want to? Naive. The 2 Dark God sect disciples were arrogant. Indeed, they had the qualifications to be arrogant. They had the talent to look down on ordinary cultivators, but this time they kicked an iron plate. Scram! Roanwood took a step forward. Blazing flames erupted from the fire gauntlets like 2 fiery dragons drilled out. The 2 Chi Cyclone Stage disciples couldn't react in time. Their eyes were engulfed in flames, and in a split second, they were burned to ashes. Using a butcher's knife to kill a chicken, Lin Feng's expression was ice cold as he watched all this. There was no mercy. When cutting weeds, one had to dig up the roots. Thinking of the people from Blood Tower 3 who died because of him, as well as Brother Nyo and Sister Ning, Lin Feng felt a sharp pain in his heart. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Life didn't have that many principles. There was no need to be so sentimental. Today he was here to kill. Let's go. Lin Feng walked past Ronghua, his killing intent already ignited. Bloody slaughter, Dark God Mountain. The melodious sound of a harmonica echoed through the forest, but it was accompanied by the melody of slaughter. Flesh and blood flew everywhere as Ronghua took the lead. Even Shueishiue didn't feel any pressure. For a bloody assassin, killing and fighting were as simple as eating. Shueishiue's sword was fast, firm, and persistent. She was no longer the same as when she had just comprehended the sword heart. Right now, her strength was only slightly inferior to Shimanzi's. Not to mention Molten Fire, who had just entered 10 blood, could be said to be able to kill anyone who stood in his way. With his strength and aptitude, if it weren't for his bad luck, he would have been the champion of the Battle of Brilliance a few years before. There weren't many people in the Nirvana sect who could stop him. However, in the God Nirvana sect, it was the most common. They were warriors. A dense crowd of cultivators rushed over after hearing the commotion. Amidst their shouts, sword lights danced in the air. There were at least a few hundred people. There were no secrets in the divine Nirvana sect. The moment Lin Feng's group of 4 barged into the sect, the entire divine Nirvana sect knew about it. A bunch of ants. Ronhua's fists appeared. Leave it to me. Lin Feng's black skeleton flashed and stopped Molten Fire. With Ronhua's strength, he wasn't afraid, but he wasn't good at group battles, so he wasted his limited strength on these small fries. It was not appropriate. Ronhua glanced at Lin Feng, but didn't say anything. His figure flickered as he went to pick up other Nirvana sect disciples. In front of him, a black mass rushed over. Kill. He's Lin Feng. I'll take your dog life. Shouts and curses rang out. However, Lin Feng was as calm as a bell. His blade rose, and a whirlpool appeared like a storm. His blade tore a hole in the sky. The power of this strike was astonishing. Opening a path up the mountain, Lin Feng took the lead in the slaughter. On top of the Nirvana Mountain, Lin Feng is here. Ao Jianhui's eyes widened in surprise. Yes, sect leader. The Nirvana sect disciple knelt on one knee and cupped his hands. There are 3 other people with him. Ao Jianwei's brows furrowed. Shuelo's 5th Hall Master? The Nirvana sect disciple shook his head. No, it's Shuelo's 3 elite geniuses, Ronghua, Shimanzi, and Shueishua. Oh, Ao Jianwei's eyes shone. The Nirvana sect disciple's voice was filled with sorrow. Many of our sect members have already been killed, and the casualties are increasing. Sect leader, please head over and take control of the situation. Of course. Ao Jianhui's sharp eyebrows emitted an overbearing light as the 10 sword sheaths at his waist vibrated. There's a path to heaven, but he doesn't want to take it. There's no door to hell, but he insists on barging in. Last time, he was lucky enough to escape. Let's see where he can run to this time. Shuelo's geniuses? Heh, we can catch them all in one fell swoop. Boom! Chi! The melodious sound of the harmonica disturbed one's mind. Ronghua was like a ferocious tiger, sweeping through everything in his path. Shueishue was dressed in white, leaving no survivors wherever her sword went. One on the left and one on the right, the 2 reaped the lives of the Nirvana sect, disciples like the black and white impermanents. Lin Feng's battle strength was even more terrifying. Storm, hail. Every time Lin Feng made a move, he took at least 12 lives. His actions were clean and efficient, without the slightest bit of hesitation. From the foot of the Nirvana God Mountain, he had slaughtered his way up and down. Although there were only 4 of them, they were 4 gods of death. Boom! Lin Feng's eyes turned red. The air was filled with the thick smell of blood. Once it started, it wouldn't stop. Being merciful to the enemy was being cruel to oneself and to the other assassins of the Blood Tower. Brother Nyo, Sister Ning, today, I will use the blood of the Nirvana God sect as a sacrifice to you. There's still one more head on my neck. From the foot of the mountain to the waist of the mountain. Step by step, they slaughtered their way up the mountain. From afar, half of the Nirvana God Mountain had already been dyed red. Lin Feng's group of 4 was unstoppable. The Nirvana Realm Guardians and Elders of the Nirvana Realm were all first-rate existences in the 33 continents. But here, they were slaughtered. Flaming Fist. Rongua's flaming fist smashed through the chest armor of a white-bearded elder. His holy aura, surpassing the 1st grade, was revealed. Huaqi. Shimanzi's red ribbon danced in the air as her flexible sword pierced through the air. Every attack was as light as a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water. But in the blink of an eye, countless experts of the Nirvana God sect were slaughtered. Ta! A world of swords spread out. Shueishue's sword heart wasn't the slightest bit inferior to Goddess Wakaman's. Her master was the #1 sword in the 33 continents, Falling Star. Shueishue's white robes contrasted with Shimanzi's red robes. They looked like white lilies, but they were equally terrifying. Blood dyed the earth red. At this moment, the battle had reached its climax. If Lin Feng's group of 4 killed their way up to the Nirvana God sect's territory, the Nirvana God sect would lose face even if they won this battle. One after another, experts of the Nirvana God sect rushed up from the mountain. The battle was in full swing. Suddenly, clang! The sound of a sword piercing through the air rang out. The appearance of a sword directly shattered Shueishue's world of swords. An icy cold aura appeared, piercing through the clouds and breaking through the blood-red barrier. The brown-colored sword was like a viper, tearing through Shueishue's world of swords and attacking Ronghua. The sudden change seemed to have caused the battlefield to stop in an instant. He's here. Chapter 694. Whoosh. Ronghua's eyes were full of fighting spirit. The Juyin gloves, a high-grade Heaven Saint weapon, ignited a fire dragon. Ronghua didn't retreat, but went straight for Ao Jianwei. However, the sword that shot out cold light was only a feint. In an instant, 10 swords flew down from the sky. Clang! 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 Like a soul-locking array, they trapped Ronghua. Ao Jianwei was very smart. He knew how strong Ronghua was. It was best to deal with him first. Despicable! Ronghua roared. The swords around him rotated, and the sword heart condensed into sword silks that cut through his defense. For Ronghua, who was good at close combat, such an attack was like countless mosquitoes staring at a lion. It consumed his patience little by little. At this moment, a gap appeared at the top of the sword array, and the brown swords fell down. They went straight for Ronghua. Swoosh! Ronghwa's expression changed. When he reacted, it was too late. Ronghua opened his eyes wide in anger. His heart seemed to stop for a moment. Bang! A gigantic golden dragon roared as it charged forward. Bang! Bang! The two golden dragons on the left and right roared and attacked. Clang! The clash between the swords and the pearls was deafening. Rumble! The entire sword formation was destroyed by a huge force, causing the ground to shake continuously. The 10 swords were uprooted like trees. Molten Fire, who had been trapped, immediately regained his freedom. His fiery red fist glowed as he looked at Lin Feng with a complicated expression. Brother Ronghua, leave him to me. Lin Feng's voice rang out. Ronghua clenched his fists. He didn't say anything. Instead, he rushed in another direction. As a blood assassin, he knew what it meant to look at the big picture. Although he had strong self-esteem and was eager to be strong, it didn't mean he was stupid. Ronghua was the strongest in Blood Tower No. 1. If Lin Feng hadn't appeared, he would definitely be the most elite genius in Blood Tower. Whoosh! Heavenly Saint Qi condensed into a beam of light that went straight for Ronghua's back. But bang! Lin Feng's sword arrived. Two meteors collided. They turned into nothing. Lin Feng stood upright and looked at Ao Jianhui in the distance. The black skeleton in his hand shook continuously as his battle intent overflowed. Your opponent is me. A wisp of a cold and arrogant arc appeared on the corners of Ao Jianhui's mouth. With just you? Yes, just me. Bang! The 8th level of the titanium gray body flashed with golden light. Swish! Lin Feng's speed rose explosively and instantly vanished, causing Ao Jianhui's eyes to be stunned, and he swiftly shouted out loudly with a solemn expression. The 10 swords flew into the air again. The heavenly Saint Qi turned into air currents, and the world of swords spread out like a grid. But there was no effect at all. Overlord Battle Power, Level 3. Lin Feng's explosive speed surpassed Ao Jianhui's. Now that he was a rank 9 Zizhou, his speed far exceeded that of an ordinary Zizhou Ultimate Warrior, not to mention the 50-fold increase of the 8th tier of the titanium grade. Like a prehistoric monster, Lin Feng was not only strong in terms of speed, but also in terms of attack power. His strength increased exponentially. Saber techniques. He had even reached the peak of the 12th level. Heiteng's crystal fragments condensed into a bow shape, increasing Lin Feng's attack power crazily. Although the saber techniques driven by domineering battle power were not as good as Ao Jianhui's sword heart, at least they would not be restrained. Lin Feng's saber was domineering beyond compare, and he swung it with extreme light. New Broken Sea, his strength continued to increase. Bang! 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 The sword formation that Ao Jianhui was most proud of shattered under the pressure of endless power. Cracks appeared on the 10 swords, and they flew in all directions. Lin Feng broke all of Ao Jianhui's killing moves in one move, but he only paused for a moment. The second slash. Ta! Lin Feng's body was like a phantom. The saber was like a heavy blade. New mountain crumble. Impudent. Ao Jianhui's eyes turned cold. His sword heart condensed in an instant, and the ancient brown sword in his hand condensed sword power. The space paused for a moment. Yuju's seal. Causing the space to tremble, the heavenly Saint Qi condensed, and Ao Jianhui fiercely stabbed out with a roar. Ao's triple extinction sword. First slash. This slash contained the essence of the sword. Ao Jianhui's strength had increased compared to 4 months ago, striving for perfection. The perfect slash was full of charm. Ao Jianhui was full of confidence, but his attack was a bit slow. Bang! Lin Feng, who had the initiative, unleashed the full power of Mountain Crumble, but he didn't have the slightest advantage. Pong! Lin Feng let out a muffled groan and retreated backwards due to the sword energy. Although Ao Jianwei's arm was a bit numb, he was still slightly better than Lin Feng. The corner of his eyes turned cold, and his killing intent surged. His sword danced, and he attacked Lin Feng again. Heavenly Saint Qi condensed to the limit, and his veins bulged as his strength increased. Boom! Ao Jianwei accelerated his attack. Lin Feng stood tall, his chest churned, and the remaining energy was quickly consumed by the whirlpool. Feeling his strength increase, he couldn't believe it. A year and a half ago, he would never have imagined that he would be able to face Ao Jianwei, a super expert of the Nirvana sect. Back in the Jinglan mountain range, he was like mud in front of Ao Jianwei, unable to withstand a single blow. He didn't even have the qualifications to be looked at. But today, he could stand in front of Ao Jianwei, neither servile nor overbearing and fearless. Top 10 experts of the 33 continents. Lin Feng smiled. The current him didn't feel that strong. He hasn't changed. The one who changed is me. Lin Feng's eyes were bright. Even in such a chaotic battlefield, he was still calm. This was absolute confidence. Lightning Dragon Saint Qi and Dark Demon Saint Qi spiraled out of his body, and under the true I Saint Qi, they instantly transformed, passing through the soul of the earth and entering Heitong. Lin Feng's Aura Sword. Nether Saint Qi. This was the normal state of fusion, not forced. Lin Feng had reached the second stage of fusion. What? Ao Jianwei's expression changed drastically. His eyes were about to pop out of their sockets, but he couldn't back down. His killing intent toward Lin Feng grew even colder. If he didn't get rid of this kid, he would be the one to die in the future. However, in the next moment, Ao Jianwei was horrified. The wind howled as Lin Feng slashed out with his saber. The entire sky was filled with the rumbling of thunder. Vortexes of thunder appeared in the void, swallowing up the surrounding space. As the storm rose, the vortexes of thunder spun rapidly, like bolts of lightning. The small vortexes turned into large vortexes, and then the large vortexes turned into huge lightning vortexes. Biting, devouring, and bone-piercing saber energy covered every inch of the space. There was no way to resist. No. Ao Jianwei attacked again. Using Ao's triple extinction sword, which was far more powerful than before, to pierce through space. But in front of this terrifying storm, the sword energy was instantly shattered. The lightning vortexes were like crazy demonic beasts, constantly biting and devouring. Qi, Qi, Qi. Ao Jianwei's armor and boots were torn apart, and there wasn't an inch of undamaged skin on his body. He was sucked into the lightning vortexes and rose into the air. Qi. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere, and his body was torn apart. New storm. Lin Feng's saber fell, and his eyes shone brightly. The most powerful killing move had appeared. Chapter 695. Advanced Lightning Intent, Black God. Lin Feng had just comprehended the Whirlpool Power Upanishad. With the help of the Whirlpool, he could perform power close to the peak power of his Upanishad. The Lightning Dragon Saint Qi was already powerful enough to push the advanced lightning intent to the limit. Now that the Nether Saint Qi was enhanced by the Lightning Dragon Saint Qi and Black Dragon Saint Qi, it was hard to imagine. The combination of Saint Qi, terrifying saber art, and Lin Feng's shocking attack power created the strongest killing move. Lin Feng wasn't a reckless person. Since he dared to say that he could kill his way to the Dark God Mountain, he was confident that he could defeat Ao Jianwei. In fact, not to mention Ao Jianwei, Lin Feng was confident that he could even defeat Yun Xing, the strongest swordsman in the 33 continents. Although Xiao Yun hadn't broken through to the origin condensation realm yet, Lin Feng's combat power was close to the peak. Senior Bai Yun, thank you. Lin Feng looked up and murmured. The Dark God Mountain shook violently. Lin Feng and Ao Jianwei's battle attracted countless gazes, but all they saw was lightning and whirlpools. Ao Jianwei, one of the top 10 experts in the 33 continents, was instantly torn to shreds. The disciples of the Dark God sect were all dumbfounded. They couldn't accept the fact that their sect master was on a mountain gate. He had fallen. The sky had collapsed. Ha ha! Ronghua laughed, his eyes burning with flames. His fist destroyed the disciples of the Dark God sect, as if he was venting his anger. The disciples had already lost their will to fight. How could they resist the four monsters? They fled in panic. It was as if the general of an army had been killed. Remember, my name is Lin Feng. Lin Feng, the trump card of the glorious Seven Alliance. Lin Feng let out a loud roar. Black Dragon was like a black dragon, swallowing everything in its path. The Dark God sect's tower was smashed to pieces, and the three words on it turned into ashes. Thud! Lin Feng stood with his saber in hand, looking like a hero of the world. He didn't care how the world judged him. As long as he had a clear conscience, that was enough. From today onwards, there will be no more Nirvana sect. Lin Feng stepped on the stairs. One step, one slash. After destroying the Nirvana sect, Lin Feng knew he would become a demon, a murderer, and an executioner despised by the righteous sections. But, so what? The dust settled. The disciples of the Nirvana God sect either fled or died. Lin Feng didn't kill them all, but he couldn't. After all, there were only 4 of them. Moreover, they needed some people to pass on the message. Protect the Blood Tower. Use all your strength to protect the Blood Tower and keep it standing. When he officially joined the Blood Tower as a core member, Sword Hall Master Yunxing's words were still vivid in his mind. Lin Feng knew about the AO family in the Nirvana world. There was no need to implicate the Blood Tower. However, although the AO family was stronger than the Blood Tower in the Nirvana world, compared to the strongest human force, the Glory Alliance, the difference was like heaven and earth. Therefore, the name of the Glory Alliance was enough to intimidate the Blood Tower. The Nirvana God Mountain was bathed in blood. The God Nirvana sect collapsed, turning into a pile of rubble. Dust flew, reflecting the 4 young figures. The legendary sect that had been passed down for thousands of years had come to an end. There was no eternal power. No matter how strong a force was, no matter how close a dynasty was, there would be a day when it collapsed. Thank you. Lin Feng looked at Shimanzi, snow blowing and fire melting. He said gratefully, especially fire melting. Among the 3 of them, he didn't have a good relationship with him. Moreover, he had defeated him twice in a row, so he should have a deep hatred. He didn't expect fire melting to abandon his hatred and help him. Today's battle was thanks to him. It was a lot easier. Snow blowing said softly, "It's what I should do." Shimanzi blinked her eyes and said charmingly, "I'm just fighting for my master. I hate these arrogant people the most. The so-called righteous path." Pooh! Fire Melting's expression was unruly. His strong body was covered in wounds. He had charged at the front of the battle, and the number of Nirvana sect disciples he had killed was second only to Lin Feng. Lin Feng felt warmth in his heart. Time reveals a person's heart. There was no need to say more words of gratitude, but he would remember their kindness. Let's go and loot. Lin Feng's eyes shone. A sect that has been passed down for thousands of years. The Nirvana sect should have a lot of treasures. Let's split 50 to 50. The 3's eyes lit up. Treasury, treasury, interspatial ring. Lin Feng's group of 4 went into looting mode, digging 3 feet into the ground to find the Nirvana sect's treasures. Although they didn't lack money, no one would complain about having too much. As one of the top 3 sects of the 10 great sects, the Nirvana sect's wealth was hard to estimate. I found a vault that stores Nemo coins. There's more than 100 billion Nemo coins inside. I also have a small treasury with 600 billion Nemo coins. Haha, sword treasury. The swords inside are worth at least 5 trillion. News of victory came from time to time. Fire Melt and the other 2 hadn't thought about it before. They only thought that they couldn't tarnish the reputation of the Blood Tower. Who would have thought that they would be able to wipe out the Nirvana sect with just the 4 of them? Unbelievable. The result was undoubtedly gratifying. Holy fruits, holy treasures, pills. Lin Feng also found a treasury and took all the treasures. From the time the four of them attacked the Nirvana sect to the end of the battle, it only took a little over 2 hours. The Nirvana sect had no intention of giving up, so their treasury was almost full. Of course, there were also a few that were empty. Fortunately, Ao Jianhui was too careful and placed the treasures in different places. That was why they weren't emptied out. I didn't miss anything, but it was all for naught. Lin Feng shook his head. There wasn't much to be happy about. Killing Ao Jianhui wouldn't bring Senior Bai Yun back to life. Brother Bull and Sister Ning's deaths wouldn't change the flow of time. The only thing he could do was feel a little better. The scripture tower is missing a few shelves, Snowblast said. A few of them were also emptied. Damn it. Fire Melt's eyebrows rose. Greedy, Shimanzi smiled. If it was a normal sect war, the Nirvana sect would have already prepared a retreat route and taken all the treasures. It would have been good enough if they could even get 10%. But now, we've at least gotten 60 to 70%. That's enough. Lin Feng nodded with a smile. Yeah, there's still so many elders, protectors, and Ao Janwei storage rings. There's still a lot to be gained. Shimanzi's beautiful eyes glanced at Lin Feng. Perhaps there were some disciples who were carrying the sect's inheritance and were killed while fleeing. Fire Melt's eyes lit up. Then what are we waiting for? Everyone laughed. Search. Fire Melt and the other two searched everywhere for storage rings. Lin Feng took out Ao Jianwei's storage ring first. It was without a doubt the most valuable one. Dragon Saint energy surged into it, but it met with a strange resistance. Chapter 696. The storage ring was integrated with the warrior's bloodline. Because a part of the warrior's consciousness was integrated into the storage ring, even if the warrior died, it would not disappear immediately. Instead, it would slowly weaken over time. It was like a thick door that blocked all external forces. Therefore, if the demon clan wanted to take the storage ring of a human, they could not do anything. But the sacred power cultivators were different. The sacred power cultivators who could control the power of the gifted soul could directly attack the door and smash it. Lin Feng knew this very well. But this time it was different. There's a rebound force, as if it has a consciousness. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Normally, when his sacred power broke the space of consciousness of the storage ring, there would be some resistance, but there was no sign of resistance. It felt like a boxer who was originally attacking a punching bag, but now he was attacking a living person. It was the same defense, but the difference was not small. Bang! Lin Feng still directly broke the defense of the space of consciousness. Everything in Ao Janwei's storage ring entered his eyes. It was like a large treasure trove with all kinds of things. There were no less than 10 heavenly treasures and countless kinds of medicine pills and sacred fruits. But in the face of such a huge number of treasures, Lin Feng did not feel the slightest bit tempted. His mind was filled with the question just now. What's going on? Lin Feng was puzzled. Splitting the loot. Let's follow the rules. Rome was said. The leader takes 50%, and the others take contribution points. Shimanzi's eyelashes fluttered. Rome shook his head. It's too troublesome. Lin Feng takes 50%, and the rest is divided equally among the three of us. I don't care. Shimanzi smiled. It made no difference to her. In terms of strength and contribution, Ronghua was second, and Shueishuo was last. So no matter how it was divided, her share was about the same. But Shueishuo's share could be increased by more than 20%. The rules of the Blood Tower. How much you put in, how much you reaped. As the leader, he had the most responsibility and the most pressure. He was also the strongest, so he should get the most. For example, Lin Feng not only did he kill Ao Janwei, but he also had to bear the infamy. He could imagine how bad his reputation would be after this battle. That's not all. When they enter the Nirvana world, the real trouble will begin. 30% is enough for me. You can split the rest equally, Lin Feng said with a smile. If the three of them hadn't lent a helping hand, this battle on the Nirvana God Mountain definitely wouldn't be so easy. Even if he could wipe out the Nirvana God sect by himself, it would take at least twice as long. That amount of time would be enough for the Nirvana God sect to arrange for their elites to retreat and empty their treasury. It's against the rules. Fire Melting frowned. That's right, Lin Feng. The key to this battle is you. 30% is too little. Shimanzi shook her head. Blowing Snow also said, if you take too much, I won't feel at ease. The three of them rejected the offer. After all, with their strength and status, they didn't care much about money. Everyone had their own principles. Especially Rong Hua, who was used to being the boss. How could he accept Lin Feng's share? After some pushing and shoving, they finally settled on the base number. Lin Feng would take 40%. Rong Hua, Shimanzi, and Snowblowing each took 20%, which was quite fair. Take out all the treasures. First, distribute the Nemo coins. Lin Feng took 18 for billion Nemo dollars, while the rest of the group took 91. 1 billion Nemo dollars each. That was nearly 5 trillion in liquid funds. The Nirvana God sect was worthy of being the second strongest sect in the 33 continents. And these were just the appetizers. Nemo coins were the most worthless thing in the Nirvana God sect. Take a look at the treasures you like, estimate them, write them down, and deduct them, Shimanzi said. Everyone quickly began to choose. If there was something suitable for them, they would take it, and the rest would be sold to Shuelo. Lin Feng directly handed the brown sword to Blowing Snow. It was Ao Jianwei's sword. Blowing Snow's eyes lit up. The most valuable holy artifact was this high-grade heavenly saint weapon. It was also the most useful treasure for Blowing Snow. Thank you. Blowing Snow smiled. I heard that Sister Blowing Snow is an ice beauty. I didn't expect you to be so beautiful when you smile. Shimanzi glanced at Blowing Snow. Her words made Blowing Snow blush. No, it's not like that. Lin Feng smiled. Blowing Snow and I are friends who have gone through thick and thin together. We are like family. Naturally, we're different from ordinary people. Blowing Snow lightly nodded and smiled in return. Shimanzi's pair of enchanting eyes stared straight at Lin Feng. Her exposed collarbone lightly moved, giving off a unique charm. She said in a sweet voice, so, Manzi is a normal person? Lin Feng couldn't take it anymore. He smiled bitterly. That's not what I meant. With a shake of his right hand, a red, flexible sword that resembled a swimming dragon appeared in his hand. Handing it over to Shimanzi, he said, although this mid-grade heavenly saint weapon is inferior to Ao Jianwei's sword, it is still of excellent quality. Consider it a small token of my appreciation for you. Hua, Shimanzi's eyes flickered as she received the red, flexible sword. Shimanzi's beautiful eyes glanced at Lin Feng. Gifting me such a precious treasure for no reason. Could it be that you want to woo me? Lin Feng's heart trembled slightly as he looked at Lin Feng. Giving me such a precious treasure for no reason. Could it be that you want to pursue me? Lin Feng was stunned. He opened his mouth, but didn't know what to say. Shimanzi laughed. Just kidding. Lin Feng smiled back and let out a sigh of relief. After Shimanzi's charming smile, a trace of disappointment flashed in her eyes. Her master was Hong Ying. She was very clear about men's mentality. It was like the falling flowers were in love with the heartless flowing water. Soon, everyone finished their selection. Basically, each of them had taken a dozen or so treasures. Lin Feng had taken the most, especially the magic cores. As one of the righteous sects, the Nirvana God sect had the responsibility to slay demons. They had killed countless demons in the past thousands of years and accumulated a terrifying amount of demon cores. However, compared to the bountiful harvest this time, the value of demon cores was not worth mentioning. Just counting alone took more than 10 hours. In the end, Ronghua, Shimanzi, and Blowing Snow each got more than 15 trillion Nirvana coins. Lin Feng got 3 trillion Nirvana coins, and this was after deducting 8 trillion demon cores and the mid-grade Heaven Saint weapon. In addition, the four of them also got all the secret manuals of the Nirvana God sect. The price was high, but the harvest was equally shocking. Did you hear? Lin Feng and the other 3 destroyed the Nirvana God sect. It's been spreading like wildfire. Lin Feng, Ronghua, Shimanzi, and Blowing Snow killed their way up the Nirvana God mountain. Blood flowed like a river. In the end, Even Ao Jianwei was killed by Lin Feng. So powerful. The Blood Tower was in an uproar. As a member of the Blood Tower, seeing the 4 assassins of the Blood Tower slaughtering the Nirvana God sect, which was ranked second among the 10 great sects, made them feel proud. Lin Feng became the target and idol of the assassins. At this time, Lin Feng stepped into the 8 Directions Palace. This was the palace of one of the 5 palace masters, Lord Ba. Lord Ba was the most knowledgeable of the 5 palace masters. To be continued. Chapter 697. Lord Ba was lost in thought. Lin Feng looked at Lord Ba, waiting quietly, but in his heart, he felt inexplicably uneasy. There are many possibilities. Lord Ba looked at him. First of all, the storage ring itself may be special. Lord Ba picked up the storage ring and gently rubbed it. Secondly, it's a misconception. It might be because Ao Jianwei's consciousness is exceptionally strong, which led to the collision between the two. Moreover, Lin Feng's eyes were like torches. Lord Ba paused for a moment, stroked his long beard, shook his head, and sighed. Just say it, Lord Ba. Lin Feng said. Lord Ba's white eyebrows twisted slightly, and he said in a deep voice, in fact, Ao Jianwei has a great background, which is why our blood cult has never dared to offend him. You may not know much about the Nirvana world. In the Nirvana world, there are 12 areas controlled by human beings, so there are 12 alliances in the Glory Alliance and 12 palaces in the Star Hall. Lin Feng nodded. The Ao family is a very old family. It is very difficult to survive in the Nirvana world. The fall of powerful forces and the rise of new forces are much faster than in the 33 continents. Lord Ba said, so, those ancient families that can survive for countless years should not be provoked. Lin Feng nodded. The Nirvana world was a real wilderness. Compared with the Ao family, the history of our blood cult in the Nirvana world is less than 1/10 of it. Lord Ba sighed. So, even if the blood cult is not inferior to the Ao family in the Nirvana world, they are still unwilling to oppose them, especially when the Ao family is already deeply rooted and had a lot of connections. And the most powerful one in the Ao family is the family of the current head, Ao Li. Ao Jianwei is the son of Ao Li. Lin Feng frowned. Ao Jianwei's background. It was higher than he thought. Why would such a prominent background be willing to come to the 33 continents to be a lord? Lin Feng was puzzled. That's the problem. Lord Ba nodded. Although there has been a rumor that Ao Jianwei fell out with his father for his wife and children. He gave up the position of the son of a concubine and left the Nirvana world to the 33 continents in anger. However, it is easy to enter the Nirvana world from the 33 continents. But returning to the 33 continents from the Nirvana world is harder than ascending to the heavens. If Ao Jianwei didn't have the resources of the Ao clan, how could he return to the 33 continents? Most importantly, as the current head of the Ao family, how could Ao Li allow his son to give up his bright future and return to the human world? Lin Feng fell silent. Lord Ba was right. Even if Ao Jianwei was willing, Ao Li had no reason to watch his son do something stupid and not stop him. I've interacted with Ao Jianwei a few times. He's extremely shrewd, sinister, and ruthless. He's definitely not a mediocre person. It's hard to imagine that such a person would be willing to stay in a remote corner and only be a lousy sect master. Lin Feng's expression was solemn. Although the Nirvana God sect was the second largest sect in the 33 continents, it was nothing in the Nirvana world. So, combined with the abnormality of the storage ring, we can almost come to a conclusion. Lord Ba sighed. Please speak, Master Ba. Lin Feng nodded. Lin Feng, it is very possible that the Ao Jianwei you killed was only a clone, Lord Ba said helplessly. Clone? Lin Feng was stunned. The secret technique of cloning is rare even in the Nirvana world. But it's not strange for the ancient Ao family to have such a secret technique. Lord Ba's eyes lit up. So, Lin Feng, although you killed Ao Jianwei, his consciousness didn't disappear. And you only broke his consciousness defense by force. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. In other words, Ao Jianwei didn't die. If the Ao Jianwei of the 33 continents is only a clone, then everything makes sense. Lorba said, Ao Jianwei's true body is still in the Nirvana world. There are many kinds of clones, and there are many ways to return to the 33 continents from the Nirvana world. Naturally, it wouldn't anger Ao Li. Lin Feng frowned. It was unexpected, but it was very likely. Actually, I should have stopped you. Lorba sighed. Lin Feng shook his head. I don't regret it. Even if I had another chance, I would still kill my way to the Nirvana God Mountain to save Warhawk. As for Ao Jianwei, even if I don't provoke him, he won't let me go. There is no room for reconciliation between us. You will be in danger after entering the Nirvana world. Lorba said. Lin Feng smiled. Even if Ao Jianwei is dead, I believe that the Ao clan will definitely see me as a thorn in their side and eliminate me as soon as possible. From the moment he killed his way to the Nirvana God Mountain, there was no way out. Lorba smiled bitterly. Don't worry, Lorba. It won't be that easy for them to kill me. Lin Feng's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. If I can kill Ao Jianwei once, I can kill him twice or thrice. With the Glory Union as my shield, they can't touch me on the surface. What's there to be afraid of in the dark? In the Nirvana world, it's still unknown who will win. The Nirvana God sect was destroyed. Blade Demon Lin Feng's massacre of the Nirvana God Mountain shook the 33 continents. He killed Ao Jianwei and slaughtered thousands of disciples of the Nirvana God sect. Blood flowed like a river. With the demon race's bloodline, wielding the demon race's saber, and using the demon race's saber skills, Lin Feng went from being the runner-up of the Battle of Glory to a peerless demon. It was no wonder. The Nirvana God sect was too famous. The banner of the righteous path hung high. It's truly a bloody hell. The water in the entire Nirvana God Mountain is red. Blade Demon Lin Feng doesn't recognize anyone. I'm sure he's a descendant of the demon race and the human race. The second most powerful sect fell just like that. What a pity. Laments and laments were everywhere. The name of Lin Feng's saber demon spread like wildfire across the 33 continents. Everyone knew about him. Blade Demon? Lin Feng smiled. That's a good nickname. Walking into the Blood Mist Palace, Lin Feng was calm and composed. Lin Feng's reputation as a demon was different from the rumors outside. In Blood Cult, Lin Feng was the idol of tens of thousands of people. He had killed Ao Jianwei by himself and overturned the God Nirvana sect. Lin Feng had long since become a legend in the hearts of all Blood Cult assassins. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Seeing Lin Feng arrive, the Blood Mist assassins straightened their backs to show their respect. Lord Lin Feng, Senior, Brother Lin, the Blood Mist assassins bowed, their eyes filled with respect from the bottom of their hearts. Lin Feng nodded. He walked through the corridor and went deeper into the hall. His eyes were filled with anticipation and excitement. News arrived that Warhawk had finally woken up. As soon as Lin Fengyu entered, he saw a few familiar figures. Gorin, blowing snow. Qianrun. His gaze fell on the center of the hall. Warhawk had already sat up. Although his face was still pale and weak, his eyes were shining brightly. Offing, Warhawk weakly called out. Lin Feng laughed heartily. Chapter 698. Warhawk had suffered a lot of inhumane torture, but he was still a blood assassin. He had passed through countless life and death situations and still managed to survive, leaving behind a trace of his life. For Blood Tower, as long as a person wasn't completely dead, they would be able to save him no matter the cost. They wouldn't give up on a single blood assassin. Often, if you had come a day later, I probably wouldn't have been able to hold on. Warhawk smiled. After 3 days of treatment, Warhawk had regained consciousness. Although he was still seriously injured, his life was no longer in danger. Galan, Snow Chue, and Qianrun, who had gone through life and death with him, were all smiling as they celebrated Warhawk's survival. I've made you suffer. Lin Feng felt a slight pain in his heart. There wasn't a single piece of skin on Warhawk's body that wasn't damaged. It's nothing. Warhawk was calm. As long as you're alive. All right, Offing, How did you save me? Did you negotiate with the Nirvana God sect? Frowning slightly, Warhawk said earnestly, You must be careful of A.O. Janway. He hates you to the bone. When Warhawk was rescued, he was already in a deep coma with only a single breath left. Therefore, Warhawk didn't know about the Nirvana God sect. Everyone smiled. What are you laughing about? Warhawk asked. Warhawk's expression turned serious. I'm serious. A.O. Janway is very shrewd. You must be careful not to fall into his trap. Don't worry, he won't be able to trick us, Lin Feng said. Huh? Warhawk was startled. Could it be that A.O. Janway admitted defeat after the 5 Hall Masters intervened? Huh? Galan laughed. Old Eagle, you've been unconscious for too long. There are many things you don't know. Blood Tower already sent the 5 Hall Masters to negotiate with A.O. Janway, but they failed. A.O. Janway insisted on Lin Feng. He wanted to kill one as an example to others. Warhawk's weak eyes narrowed, and then Galan glanced at Lin Feng with deep admiration. Then Lin Feng took Rong Hua and Shi Manzi. Snow Chue and the other 2 killed their way up the Nirvana God Mountain. Warhawk sucked in a breath. Kill our way to the Dark God Mountain. Warhawk was stunned. He looked at Snow blowing snow, and the latter's face was still as cold as ice. It was true, Galan said. The battle lasted for 2 hours from the foot of the mountain to the top. Lin Feng killed A.O. Janway and massacred the people of the Nirvana God Mountain. Blood flowed like a river, and corpses were everywhere. Galan clicked his tongue. After this battle, the Nirvana Divine Sect will no longer exist in the 33 continents. Warhawk's whole body quivered as he looked at Lin Feng in disbelief. Did he hear wrongly? Lin Feng's group of 4 wiped out the second-ranked sect of the 33 continents. It was too exaggerated. To save me? Warhawk looked at Lin Feng, his chest heaving up and down. Lin Feng chuckled. Not entirely. Is it worth it? Warhawk frowned. As a veteran assassin, he knew what kind of consequences this would bring to Lin Feng. Although Lin Feng hadn't entered the Nirvana God Mountain, he had already offended the A.O. family. Lin Feng smiled. Of course it's worth it. Friendship was priceless. For Lin Feng, there were many things that couldn't be measured by value or whether they were worth it. People were human because they had feelings. Brother Lon, there's something I want to trouble you with, Lin Feng said softly. What is it, Offeng? Galan said, I can't rest easy because I couldn't go with you to the Dark God Mountain to save Warhawk. Lin Feng shook his head. This is my decision. Brother Lon, I believe Warhawk understands your and Qian's feelings. On that day, it wasn't just the 3 of them. Galan, Qian Run, and the other assassins wanted to kill their way up the Dark God Mountain, but he refused. First, they weren't strong enough. Second, they weren't part of the core of the Glory Alliance. Offending the A.O. family was a dead end for them. Galan nodded. In any case, seeing Warhawk wake up safely is enough. That's enough. Warhawk was saved, but Brother Nyo, Sister Ning, and the others killed by the Nirvana God sect can't come back. Lin Feng's eyes were apologetic. I didn't kill Bo Run, but Bo Run died because of me. Galan looked at Lin Feng. So often one of Lin Feng said bury them. If they have relatives, give them enough money to live out the rest of their lives. If they have unfulfilled wishes, help them fulfill them. Lin Feng took out a storage ring and handed it to Galan. There are 500 billion Nemo coins in here. 500 billion. Galan's heart shrank. Lin Feng nodded. I'll leave it to you. I don't need that much, Galan said. Lin Feng's eyes blurred. Then double or triple the amount. Money isn't a problem. The most important thing is to let our dead brothers and sisters rest in peace. The rest can be used as operating funds for Blood Tower 3. Be responsible for rewarding and recruiting new members. I'll be gone for a few months. Lin Feng had enough money right now. After looting the Nirvana God sect, he had 5 trillion Nemo coins on him. After deducting 500 billion, he still had 27 trillion Nemo coins. He also had 5 billion blood kill points, which was equivalent to 5 trillion Nemo coins. In terms of wealth, Lin Feng could be counted on one hand in the 33 continents. I understand. Gulan accepted the money. Don't worry, I'll take care of it properly. All right, thanks for the trouble. Lin Feng nodded. After returning from the Blood Mist Hall, Lin Feng continued to absorb various sacredine pearls. Among the 4,312 sacred moon pearls he obtained in the Blood Evil world, the 5,197 sacred nether pearls had already been absorbed. Xiao Yun had also successfully advanced to the 9th stage of the essence condensation stage, and was very close to the limit of the essence condensation stage. As for the remaining sacredine pearls, Lin Feng didn't go to the Blood Mist world again. Instead, he obtained a lot from Ronghua and Shimanzi. Because the sacred moon pearls and sacred nether pearls were quite expensive, the Blood Mist Society had a limit on the amount they could exchange each month. Therefore, Ronghua and Shimanzi had a lot left. They also saved a lot of money. Now, Lin Feng was madly advancing. 80%, 85%, 90%. Xiao Yun's strength was increasing rapidly. The absorption of various sacredine pearls was like extracting the essence. It was much faster than the improvement of demon cores. Lin Feng wasn't worried about the prime condensation lightning tribulation. He was fully prepared to face it. He was 100% confident. After this prime condensation lightning tribulation, not only would Xiao Yun be reborn, but he would also be reborn. 95%, 100%. Whoosh, feeling the surging power in his body, Lin Feng felt as if he was looking at a snow-white, five-tailed snow fox. His pair of lively eyes shone with incomparable joy. The powerful and unparalleled energy in his body spread in all directions. Xiao Yun's clear and excited voice came. The prime condensation lightning tribulation was coming. Finally, it's coming. Lin Feng smiled. Chapter 699. The Essence Condensation Lightning Tribulation. The last lightning tribulation of a demon beast transformation path. After this lightning tribulation, the demon beast would be reborn, condense the life essence core, cultivate the essence core, and stimulate the ancient bloodline, truly embarking on the path of transformation. At that time, the demon beast would be no different from a human. They would comprehend the heavenly Tao and cultivate the energy of heaven and earth. It was the path of transformation. But the prerequisite was that they had to survive the most terrifying essence condensation lightning tribulation. It's normal. Only the top 7 blood can survive the essence condensation lightning tribulation. Lin Feng had a general understanding of the lightning tribulation. The demon beasts that walked the path of transformation were weaker than the demon beasts that walked the path of transformation. It was already good for a demon beast at the peak of the essence condensation to reach 7 blood. Only those with good talent could reach 7 blood. As for the top 7 blood, it was less than 1%. For example, although Xiao Yun was at the peak of the essence condensation, her strength had increased by force feeding. Her true strength was probably only at 6 blood. The difference was huge. Compared to Bai Yun, who cultivated in danger, Xiao Yun was much worse. However, her luck was much better than before. Blood Fogland. Lin Feng did not enter the Blood Fogland again. For the time being, there was no chance. He occupied an area deep in the Blood Fogland. 8 blood assassins stood guard outside to prevent anyone from entering. As a core member of the 10 Blood and the Blade Demon's name, Lin Feng could do many things easily. He was patiently waiting for the lightning tribulation to descend. There was no fear, only anticipation. To the current Lin Feng, the lightning tribulation was like a baptism, a sacrificial ceremony that could greatly increase his strength in a short period of time. Boom, 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 boom. The furious sound of thunder was like a huge hole being torn open in the sky. The divine might of nature made people tremble in fear. The earth shook as if the end of the world had arrived. The earth violently rose and fell, and the earth cracked open. It was as if it was the end of the world. What's that? What a powerful lightning tribulation. What's happening inside? The 8 blood assassins guarding outside were shocked. Even from far away, they could clearly feel the terrifying power. Guard well. Don't meddle in things you shouldn't meddle in. Xiaoying was in charge of guarding. Lin Feng had arranged for a trustworthy person to oversee the situation. Yes, Sister Xiao. Understood. All the blood assassins came back to their senses. Enter a state of alert. Although he was curious, the person inside was the legendary figure of the Blood Tower, the Blade Demon Lin Feng. Nothing was impossible. Pung, pung, pung. The tribulation lightning struck down. Lin Feng was only wearing a black martial robe. He took it head-on with his body. Lin Feng had already experienced 9 shape-shifting thunder tribulations and 27 shape-shifting thunder tribulations. He knew how to distribute his defense and how to make the best use of his advantages, maximizing the benefits. Yin Ran was calm and composed. Zizhou's body was at the 9th level. Boom, boom. Bolt after bolt of tribulation lightning fell down, all of them containing the Child Week's peak attack power. Lin Feng didn't move at all. The Thunder Dragon Star was dazzling as it crazily devoured the tribulation lightning energy. The soul of the Great Earth also began to absorb the soul of the Great Earth, rapidly increasing its level. Every cell in his body was absorbing the energy of the tribulation lightning. Every time he absorbed it, he would be able to sense the lightning elemental energy more directly. The 10th bolt. Lin Feng felt that the power of the tribulation lightning had increased significantly. Just like the shape-shifting thunder tribulation, the 9th bolt is a threshold. Lin Feng instantly understood. However, the 10th shape-shifting thunder tribulation only caused him a little pain. His body could still withstand it. Continue. At the 19th bolt, Lin Feng began to use the titanium gray body. At the 28th bolt, the 5th level of the titanium gray body was activated. Silver light shone, and his physical fitness increased tenfold. At the 37th bolt, the 7th level of the titanium gray body was activated. Soon, 45 bolts of tribulation lightning fell. Lin Feng let out a sigh of relief. The whirlpool consumed the tribulation lightning energy. Zizhou's 8th level Thunder Dragon, Saint Chi, and Zizhou's 9th level Soul of the Earth were rapidly absorbed. But what made Lin Feng feel the most comfortable was his thunder aptitude. This time, the improvement was huge. It's already doubled. Lin Feng was satisfied. The more time passed, the harder it was to improve one's aptitude. It was the same doubling, but the difference was huge. For example, 1 sacred fruit becoming 2 sacred fruits and 100 sacred fruits becoming 200 sacred fruits were completely different concepts. It was the same for his thunder aptitude. The energy of the 3 tribulations had increased 3 times. Now, it was approaching the light and darkness aptitudes. Pa! Pa! The phenomenon in the sky became more and more intense. Thunder and lightning rumbled as if the end of the world was coming. Now is the real beginning. Lin Feng smiled. He had never thought of ending the essence condensation thunder tribulation with only 27 bolts of tribulation lightning. According to his judgment, the phenomenon in front of him was probably only halfway through. Next was the main show. Whoosh! Lin Feng took out the Thunder Kuei pot. The all-purple Thunder Kuei pot was a middle-grade heaven-level sacred treasure. It played a huge role in the thunder tribulation. It could absorb and store a large amount of thunder energy. Boom! The 46th bolt of tribulation lightning came. The 55th bolt of tribulation lightning. The 64th bolt of tribulation lightning. Lin Feng maintained the 7th level of his titanium gray body because if he used the 8th level, the titanium energy wouldn't last until the end. The Thunder Kuei pot and the whirlpool were enough to resist the tribulation lightning energy. The totem lit up, and the spiral horn on the top of the pot shone with a bright light. At the mouth of the pot, the divine beast Thunder Kuei roared and swallowed the tribulation lightning. The purple light turned black bit by bit. The Thunder Kuei pot was an advanced sacred treasure. It had 3 forms. The 3rd form, a high-grade heaven-level sacred treasure. As long as there was enough thunder energy to absorb, it would be able to advance. This was because the core of the Thunder Kuei pot's origin was the divine beast Thunder Kuei inside the pot. It was born to control thunder and was a divine beast of thunder. The 73rd bolt. Boom! The divine power of heaven reached its limit. It was like a warrior who was going all out for the final fight. Lin Feng smiled. Thunder crackled all over his body. He looked terrifying, but in fact, he wasn't injured at all. At this time, the Thunder Kuei pot was more than 90% black. Lin Feng's body flickered as he put on the indestructible Thunder Pearl armor. Unlike before, the energy stored in the 33 indestructible Thunder Pearls was not Thunder Dragon Holy Chi, but normally fused Netherworld Holy Chi. The original low-grade heaven-level indestructible Thunder Pearl armor had reached middle-grade heaven level. Boom! Boom! The attack of an arrow at the end of its flight was like an ant trying to shake a tree. However, this time, Lin Feng didn't become an ant, but a tree. To the current him, the thunder tribulation of the essence condensation realm was no threat at all. It didn't even have the qualifications to hurt him. When I'm strong enough, even the heavens can be shaken. Lin Feng held the black skeleton in his hand, and his eyes widened. As he shouted, he swung his saber. The lightning slaughter went berserk, fighting against lightning with lightning. Whirlpools of lightning appeared in the air, and a violent storm formed into a violent, devouring force. Accompanied by a bone-piercing saber force, it instantly turned the tables and tore the entire sky into pieces amidst the rumbling sounds. Whoosh! With one strike, the thunder tribulation scattered. Chapter 700. It's over. 81 bolts of tribulation lightning. The last bolt of tribulation lightning is about the attack of an upper-level nirvana cultivator. Lin Feng smiled. He could roughly guess the power of the tribulation lightning. If the demonic beast bore it alone, it would be of the same level. But if it took a shortcut, the tribulation lightning would be one level higher. In other words, the transformation stage had to bear the tribulation lightning of the transformation stage. The transformation stage had to bear the tribulation lightning of the condensation stage, and the condensation stage had to bear the tribulation lightning of a higher level. From 3 to 9, from 27 to 81. The ultimate number. Almost there. Lin Feng looked at the Thunder Kuei kettle. 98% of the kettle was black, but the remaining percent was purple. But it was not a big problem. If it absorbed some more Thunder Dragon Holy Chi, it would completely evolve and reach the third level of the Thunder Kuei kettle. The upper-level heaven-level holy treasure, the Black Thunder Kuei kettle. It had entered a deeper level of transformation. Lin Feng returned with a full load. The soul of the earth had just broken through the 9th level of the first week and was now at 60% of the 9th level. But the Thunder Dragon Holy Chi was completely overflowing. It had reached the limit of the 8th level of the first week and formed a perfect whole. Its power was one level higher than the Dark Demon Holy Chi. It was the same limit of the first week and the same energy of heaven and earth. But the Thunder Dragon Holy Chi was a superior Holy Chi, and it had a precious heart sutra like the Thunder Dragon scripture. The Dark Demon Holy Chi was inferior, and the ominous Dark Demonic art was far inferior to the Thunder Dragon scripture. They had both reached the limit, but their power was far from each other. The fusion of Holy Chi, one strong and one weak, can cause fluctuations. It's difficult to fuse them. The closer they are, the more compatible they are. And if the Thunder Dragon Holy Chi and the Dark Demon Holy Chi are fused, the strength of the Nether Holy Chi will be closely related to the lowest level of Holy Chi. Lin Feng had experience fusing Holy Chi. After countless failures, he concluded the pattern. Before the Thunder Dragon Holy Chi reached the limit, it had to accommodate the Dark Demon Holy Chi, let alone now. Sizzle, crackle. Lightning appeared in his hands, and streaks of lightning covered his hands. With a thought, Lin Feng closed his eyes and clearly sensed the active lightning energy in the air. Now, it was not at all inferior to the light energy and dark energy. His skin, cells, and bones were excited. Complete transformation. Now, even in the Nirvana world, my thunder aptitude is at the top. Lin Feng was very satisfied. The perfect body increased his lightning talent by 10 times. The 3 lightning tribulations were each stronger than the previous one. In total, it increased his lightning talent by about 20 times. Compared to before, his thunder potential had been strengthened by 200 times. Now, it was on par with the holy chi of light and darkness. Let's start with the Dark Devil Holy Chi. Lin Feng knew what he had to do. He had seen the perfect limit of first-grade Saint Chi. He was even more determined to replace the first-grade Holy Chi. He would rather spend more time now, but in the future, it would save a lot of detours. Lin Feng took out the Dark Void map. The efficiency of the Blood Tower was quite high. They had already obtained 2 Holy Chi Heart mantras beyond the first grade. Although the Blood Tower was a new force in the Nirvana world, they had everything they needed and were rich in resources. It would be difficult for an ordinary force in the Nirvana world to take out a Saint Chi Heart mantra. In the Nirvana world, the Saint Chi Heart mantra of the first class had almost reached its limit. Swish, Lin Feng opened the Dark Void map. What he saw was a completely dark world. There seemed to be countless demons and monsters in the dark map, but it also seemed like an endless abyss. It was hazy between reality and illusion. Suddenly, snap! The true pupil holy power shone. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. He looked directly at the Dark Void map. In an instant, all the virtual images disappeared. His mind was perfectly immersed. It was as if he had entered a dark world. Streams of air swirled and flowed back in his body, flowing through his limbs and bones. His body instantly merged. Soon, if people knew, they would be dumbfounded. Although the Saint Chi of the first class was strong, it was not easy to comprehend it. Especially the extreme Saint Chi of the first class, it was even more difficult. Countless warriors had secret manuals, but they had not been initiated in 10 or 100 years. But sometimes, in addition to talent, there was also something else. Luck. Lin Feng's luck was very good. The first map was the key. After that, he only needed to improve the level of the heart formula. For example, after building the foundation, it would be much easier to build the next layer. For Lin Feng, it was fine if he did not cultivate the later part of the heart formula. As long as he completed the transformation of the Dark Void Holy Chi, he would be done. After that, when he cultivated to the extreme, he could completely rely on the heart of the Dark God. Void is darkness. Void is hidden in the dark and inseparable. This is the Dark Void Holy Chi, the power hidden in the depths of the universe. Outside the soul of the earth, a cyclone began to gather. Under Lin Feng's precise control, the Dark Devil Holy Chi gradually became a wedding dress. There can be no construction without destruction. With the soul of the earth as the medium, the Dark Devil Holy Chi turned into the Dark Void Holy Chi. From the first class to the first class, the energy consumption was huge. For example, from one reservoir to another, a lot of energy would be lost during the transportation, but it was unavoidable. Chi Cloud Stage. Fetus Week. With a constant supply of energy, the Dark Void Holy Chi quickly broke through the fetus week. But not long after the transformation, the improvement began to slow down. It went from the 6th level to the 7th level with difficulty. Then it stopped like a speeding train. Phew! Lin Feng sighed softly. The Dark Devil Holy Chi was exhausted, and the Dark Void Holy Chi reached the 7th level of the fetus week. It's really wasteful. Lin Feng smiled helplessly. He had guessed that it would be like this, but he didn't expect the consumption to be more than he expected. Fortunately, he still had a lot of heart of the Dark God. Quickly absorbing, Lin Feng quickly improved the Dark Void Holy Chi to the 8th level of the fetus week, going straight to the limit. At the same time, he also comprehended the last Dark Void map, the level of the fetus week. Ordinary first-class Holy Chi and the limit of the super first-class Holy Chi are really different. Lin Feng sighed. One was like a child from an ordinary family, while the other was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. The Dark Void Holy Chi that just entered the 8th level of the fetus week was already beyond the limit of the Dark Devil Holy Chi. Chi. The Dark Void Holy Chi flowed into Hei Teng, and Lin Feng's eyes shone. Huh! Hei Teng's power burst out instantly. The Dark Void Holy Chi triggered the heart formula, and he slashed again and again, making the wind howl and the crane howl. The peak of the 12th level of the blade technique was basically invincible in the 33 continents. He was still one step away from condensing the blade heart, but this step wasn't easy to cross. Dark Void Holy Chi. It's still slightly weaker than the Thunder Dragon Holy Chi. The blade stopped, and Lin Feng closed his eyes to distinguish. But it's not the difference between the Holy Chi itself, but the strength of the heart formula. Teacher's Thunder Dragon Cannon is stronger than the Dark Void map. Lin Feng nodded. Only by comparison could the strength of the Holy Chi be seen. So, Teacher's Thunder Dragon Holy Chi is also the limit of the Super First Class. Lin Feng's chest rose and fell, and his eyes shone. True Dragon Holy Chi is obviously stronger than Thunder Dragon Holy Chi, its ultimate Holy Chi. To be continued. Chapter 701. The legendary Supreme Grade Saint Power. Normal Supreme Grade Saint Chi, or Saint Power, needed to be fused. It was terrifying to reach the Supreme Grade alone, especially two types. The True Eye Saint Power is not inferior to the True Dragon Saint Power. Lin Feng knew very well. The true Pupil Holy Power that he had obtained in Waner by accident was comparable to the True Dragon Holy Power. The more he learned about Planet Nemo, the more he felt that it was a mysterious and unknown planet. Level 9 was the limit of a stellar civilization. One more level, and it would reach the standard of a stellar civilization. But until now, the martial artists of Planet Nemo could not leave the planet. Normally, the elites of stellar civilizations with level 0 could leave their planets. Ordinary humans could advance to perfect bodies and fly freely in the universe, absorbing cosmic energy to survive. I'll know more after entering the Nirvana world, Lin Feng thought. The 33 continents were like a small area of Huaxiao on Earth. What he saw was only a corner. But should I give up on the true I Saint Power just like that? Lin Feng was hesitant. With the grade of the True Dragon Saint Power, when it reached the Child Weak limit and the perfect level, it would definitely have enough energy to fuse with the innate soul alone to transform. When that happened, the sea of knowledge would change and the talent soul would advance. All the Saint Powers would fuse into one. The True I Saint Power, which was only at level 3, would be devoured. If it was an ordinary Saint Power, it would disappear. But the True Eye Saint Power was a Supreme Grade Saint Power that was not inferior to the True Dragon Saint Power. Even if it's not the strongest Saint Power on Planet Nemo, it's at least the top level. Lin Feng was uncertain. It was not easy to find a Supreme Grade Saint Power, and it was even harder to find one that was suitable for his aptitude. But he had found it. However, it would be a long journey to cultivate the True I Saint Power from the 3rd level to the limit of the sub-weak stage. There's still time. If there's no other way, I'll have to give it up. Lin Feng nodded. After all, time was the most important thing for him now. He had fully comprehended the Void Darkness map. Lin Feng then began to comprehend the Big Dipper Rainbow Scroll. This was another super first grade extreme Holy Chi heart mantra, Rainbow Holy Chi. Flipping through the pages one by one, Lin Feng quickly immersed himself in it. The Big Dipper Rainbow Scroll had 2 volumes. Among them, the most difficult is not the first week of pregnancy and the second week of pregnancy, but Volume 1. The 7 stars of the Big Dipper correspond to the 7 origin lights. In a unique arrangement, it gathers mysterious energy and forms the Big Dipper Rainbow Light. It's the source of the rainbow light, Holy Chi. Lin Feng read through the first half of the book. Every word was profound, and every sentence was quintessential. Unlike most Holy Chi heart mantras, the most difficult part of the Big Dipper Rainbow Scroll was to get started. Once the rainbow Holy Chi was gathered, the second part would be very easy. However, the difficulty of the first scroll was obvious. While absorbing the monster cores, Lin Feng comprehended the Big Dipper Rainbow Scroll. This time, however, his luck was not so good. He had truly comprehended a heart mantra that transcended the limits of the first grade. After 3 days and 3 nights, Lin Feng still hadn't made any progress. However, the absorption of the monster cores increased his strength rapidly. His innate soul and soul of the earth were changing every day. The huge amount of devil cores from the god Nirvana sect was a great help to his cultivation. Change the method, Lin Feng thought. Actually, the Big Dipper rainbow holy chi can be imagined as a combination of 7 holy chis. I can break through them one by one. Finally, I'll condense them into one. It would definitely take a lot of time, but Lin Feng believed that this was the right step. One step at a time. Lin Feng spent 5 days to comprehend the first rainbow holy chi. The second one still took 4 days. But from the third one onwards, with the experience of the first 2, it became smoother. From 2 days to 1 day, then half a day, Lin Feng became more and more proficient. In the end, it only took him 5 hours to comprehend the 7th rainbow holy chi. Finally, condense them. 7 first-grade holy chis condensed. It can actually transform into the ultimate first-grade holy chi. Lin Feng exclaimed. When the Big Dipper rainbow holy chi was cut, each of them could become an independent holy chi. The holy chi condensed, like the arrangement of the Big Dipper in the void, shining one after another. Every effort and failure wouldn't be in vain. Lin Feng's first 3 days of failure had become a valuable experience. Whoosh! Inside the spirit of Earth, the holy chi arranged in the Big Dipper lit up. Every space and every position seemed to be connected by an invisible line. They condensed into a whole in an instant. From being scattered to being concentrated, it was like the formation of a rainbow. Lin Feng moved his heart, and in an instant, the 7 rainbow holy chi energy emitted dazzling light. Snap! The Big Dipper rainbow holy chi was formed. It was a success. Very good. The corner of Lin Feng's mouth lifted. The conversion was smooth. But the Yawang holy chi was exhausted when a rainbow holy chi entered the first week. The dark demon god's heart was also absorbed. The darkness holy chi was 65% of the first week, 1/3 away from the limit. The 3 months in the Blood Tower prison are critical. Not only do I have to hunt a lot of light demon gods' hearts, but I also have to get a lot of dark demon gods' hearts. I also have to be careful of the exiles. Finally, I need a lot of time to understand the unique model of the Blood Tower prison and how the light and darkness are condensed. 3 months. Lin Feng stood up, frowning slightly. Time is too short. As soon as he left the cultivation room, Lin Feng saw an arrogant figure sitting cross-legged. When he saw him again, his aura was different. He was less violent and arrogant, and more powerful. However, the burning power and fighting spirit in his fiery red eyes hadn't changed at all. Molten Fire. Molten Fire immediately stood up when he saw him. Have you been waiting for a long time? Yesterday, Lin Feng had already felt the existence of Molten Fire, but he hadn't come out when he was cultivating in seclusion. He didn't expect to wait for a whole day. He was also curious about why Molten Fire was looking for him. It's okay, Molten Fire said. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. You've broken through. Molten Fire nodded. With the help of the Heart of Glory, it's not difficult to succeed. Lin Feng nodded. Molten Fire, Shimanzi, and Shueishua all had the Heart of Glory. In addition, they were talented, so the fusion of holy chi naturally couldn't trap them. It was expected that Molten Fire would be the first to break through and become a Nemo, because he was already at the limit of Zizhou. If it weren't for the Battle of Glory Star, Molten Fire would have tried the fusion of holy chi last year. So this time you're looking for me, because... Lin Feng looked at Molten Fire. Boom! Molten Fire suddenly swung his right fist, full of fighting spirit. Before I leave, let's fight again. I'm happy to. Lin Feng smiled. After cultivating in seclusion for a long time, he also wanted to move around. You choose the time, Molten Fire said. Lin Feng took out Heitung. Then let's do it now. Great. Chapter 702. I lost. Ronghua lowered his hands, and a trace of gloominess flashed through his eyes. You become stronger. Lin Feng looked at Ronghua. Ronghua had improved each time he fought with Ronghua. The strongest genius of Shuelo not only had extraordinary talent, but also a heart that would never admit defeat, which was very rare. Under his arrogant, unruly, and incomparably vigorous strength, He had the same desire for a challenge as himself. Not every warrior could keep fighting even after repeated failures. Roan nodded. Breaking through nirvana will naturally raise one's strength to a higher level, and the harvest this time was bountiful. Lin Feng understood. Roan was saint treasures, including armor and boots, were all high-grade heaven class. Although Ronghua had gained a lot from wiping out Nirvana sect, Ronghua, Shimanzi, and Shueishua had also gained a lot. Your strength has surpassed Ao Jianwei, Lin Feng said. But I still lost to you. Ronghua stared at Lin Feng, but this time he didn't look defeated, because he had already guessed this outcome. After a slight pause, Ronghua asked, "Tell me the truth. Did you use all your strength just now?" "Yes," Lin Feng smiled. "If your fist heart could match Ao Jianwei's sword heart, I would have lost." Ronghua laughed heartily and looked at Lin Feng. "I'm going to Nirvana World and start working hard from the elite army of the Union of Seven. Before you come, I'll definitely become a member of the Ace Army. Don't let me down, Lin Feng. If you slack off, I'll catch up with you soon." Lin Feng's eyes lit up. "Okay, see you in Nirvana World." Ronghua turned and left. He raised his empty right hand and said goodbye before leaving. Looking at Ronghua's lonely back, Lin Feng's expression was calm. Ronghua made him feel that he was being chased closely behind. In a world where the strong were respected, changes were happening every day. Every warrior was working hard. If they didn't move forward, they would fall behind. Not only were there mountains in front of them, but there were also huge waves behind them. "See you in Nirvana World," Lin Feng said softly. He definitely wouldn't slack off. It was now the beginning of February of the 105th year of the war era on Earth. The seventh great extinction was still the last year. Lin Feng was filled with fighting spirit. Shimanzi and Snowdrift had already entered the Nine Blood Passageway. The two women were making the best use of their time to break through to the Nirvana level. The Battle of Glorious Star was over, and the next one was far in the future. The two women naturally wouldn't stay any longer. Basically, 3 months after the completion of the 9 blood channels, the two women would be able to reach the peak of Zizhou and complete the fusion of Holy Qi. For Lin Feng, time was also very tight. 3 types of energy that completely repel each other? Lin Feng asked. Elder Huang nodded. Water and fire of the 5 elements, yin and yang, and the strongest light and darkness. Are there any successful examples? Lin Feng was curious. Elder Gong shook his head. Forgive me for my lack of knowledge, but there are ancient records that state that Nemo was the ancestor of mankind. Such a fusion of Holy Qi was once completed on the ancient Holy Land Earth. Holy Land Earth? Lin Feng was startled. Elder Huang said, but it recorded water and fire of the 5 elements, and it wasn't just the fusion of these 2 5 elements. Gold, wood, water, fire, and earth were all cultivated and finally fused to form Holy Qi of the 5 elements. Fusing Holy Qi of the 5 elements. Lin Feng sighed. There were indeed many capable people. Every time one fused Holy Qi, the difficulty of the fusion would increase by a level. Just controlling it would be difficult. Fusing Holy Qi of the 5 elements meant that one had to do 5 things at once. Elder Huang nodded. From the first level of Saint Qi to the ultimate level, the Saint Qi has surpassed the absolute level. But whether it really exists is still unknown. At least no warrior on Nemo has succeeded. The ultimate level Holy Qi of the 5 elements is just a legend. The ultimate level. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. Regardless of whether it was a legend or not, at least it was reasonable. Super level 1 Holy Qi wasn't as hard to find as ultimate level Holy Qi. And if 2 types of super level 1 Holy Qi were perfectly fused, it would become ultimate level Holy Qi. If 5 types of super level 1 Holy Qi were perfectly fused and reached the ultimate level, it was completely possible. Elder Huang said seriously, the fusion of 2 types of Holy Qi with compatible Qi will only increase the success rate. The probability of a perfect fusion is higher than normal, but the quality of the Holy Qi will be the same after the fusion. But the fusion of Holy Qi with incompatible Qi is different. I estimate that even if the fusion is forced, it will be comparable to the perfect fusion of ordinary holy qi. I estimate. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. Elder Huang was using him as a test subject. More than that, Elder Huang looked at Lin Feng. With my years of research on holy qi, if the fusion of holy qi with mutually exclusive qi is successful, the level of the energy will be higher than normal. For example, the void holy energy and the rainbow holy energy. Even if the fusion is forced, it will reach the limit of ultimate level. But compared to nether holy qi, which is also at the limit of ultimate level, Titan holy qi will be stronger. And if the fusion is normal, Elder Huang's eyes lit up. It will most likely reach the ultimate level. Lin Feng nodded. It was a big and round cake, but the ultimate level wasn't that easy. With Elder Huang's expectation, Lin Feng stepped into the Blood Tower Realm prison once again. Unfamiliar the first time, familiar the second time. Lin Feng was now very familiar with the Blood Tower Realm prison. If he continued to move in the dark area and mastered the mystery of weightlessness, Lin Feng could easily face all the dinosaur ferocious beasts here and hunt for the heart of the Dark Demon God. 3 goals, one at a time. First, the heart of the Dark Demon God. Cultivate the void holy qi to the limit of 1 week. Then, even if I can't cultivate the rainbow holy qi to the limit, I can at least use the void holy qi and thunder dragon holy qi to walk the path of the netherworld. The normal fusion will advance to the ultimate level of nether holy qi, and the perfect fusion will advance to the ultimate level of nether holy qi. Then, I will get the heart of the light demon god. If I have time left, I will comprehend and observe the Blood Tower Realm prison. Lin Feng had his own ideas. Although Elder Huang hoped that he could achieve the fusion of light and dark holy qi and create a miracle on Nemo planet, he was the one who knew his own situation best. 2.5 months later. Whoosh! Galloping in the region of light, Lin Feng completely ignored the feeling of weightlessness. He had already comprehended the mystery of carry force. Now that he was honing it in battle, his mastery of carry force was similar to that of carry force, and his strength was no longer restricted. The void holy qi had already reached the limit of 1 week, but the rainbow holy qi was still a little short. As expected, plans can't keep up with changes, Lin Feng thought. He could probably accomplish 2 of the 3 goals he set in advance. Moreover, he needed to go to the boundary of light and darkness to study the Blood Tower Realm prison more deeply. But now, in order to hunt for enough heart of the light demon god, he had already gone deep into the region of light. It would take a long time just to go back. Change of plan. Carry out the 4th goal, Lin Feng thought. Chapter 703. Strength level. From Zizhou to the limit, it seemed like 1 level, but it was a long journey. Ronghua and Shi Manzi both stayed at this level for a long time. The difference was that they could enter the 9 blood channel and quickly improve their strength, but Lin Feng could not. There were indeed many demon cores, but most of them were from ordinary earth demons and earth demon lords. The demon cores of real, Xianming earth demons were less than 1/10,000th. Even the demon cores of Xianming earth demons were divided into lower, middle, and upper levels. There's less than half a month left. Even if I can get enough demon god's heart of the light to reach the limit of the rainbow holy qi, but if the spirit of the earth cannot reach the limit, then the spirit of talent will be even worse. Just reaching the limit of the holy qi was useless. The key was the spirit of the earth. And for himself, the spirit of talent could not be left behind. When the demon cores are used up, the fastest way to cultivate is to enter the 9th level of the bloody evil world. But it will take at least another month. Lin Feng quickly calculated. To him, time was of the essence. Every single day was important in the final year sprint. He had already spent a quarter of his time in the Blood Pagoda Realm prison. Another 1 or 2 months, the consumption would be even greater. Give up the 3rd goal, comprehend and observe the Blood Pagoda Realm prison, and change to the 4th goal. Hunt the exiles. There were 2 types of exiles in the Blood Pagoda Realm prison. One was a human warrior, and the other was a demon warrior. Lin Feng understood from Elder Huang that he was in the first prison. The strongest human was at the 9th level of the Nirvana realm, and the strongest demon was at the 9th level of the heavenly demon realm. If he broke through, he would be sent to the second prison, which was higher. There were not many human exiles here. There were only about 60 of them, and they were decreasing because it was difficult to survive. But the demons were different. They had strong adaptability to the environment, and they had the advantage of the dark region. In addition, there were many exiles, so there were more than 200 exiles in the first prison. Every one of them was a true heavenly demon warrior. There are 8 less human exiles. Lin Feng smiled. Of the 60 exiles, 40 were in the light region. The other 20 or so were in the dark region. This was the information he obtained after capturing the human exile Yuan. In the 2 months since they entered the light element area, there had been a total of 9 human exiles who had launched sneak attacks. He killed 8 and let one go. The strongest one was at the 9th level of Nirvana realm, comparable to Ao, Jianhui, and Emohua. But to the current him, it was far from enough. Not only did the 2 strongest not appear, the rest of the human exiles seemed to have given up. Lin Feng hadn't seen the exiles for 10 days, ever since he killed that rank 9 Nirvana realm cultivator. They're not stupid. Lin Feng's state of mind was clear. Basically, the exiles who were able to survive until now were all very smart and knew how to seek good fortune and avoid disaster. Plus, he had let Yuan go, so the news would spread quickly. Although they could get out after killing 10 blood assassins, it didn't mean that they had to do it. It was stupid to try to assassinate someone when they knew that the opponent was strong. As long as there was enough time, 10 years was not enough for 20. 30 years, or even 100 years, those who were patient would be able to gather 10 blood assassins' heads. A pity. Lin Feng sighed. Actually, he really wanted to meet the 2 strongest human exiles in the first prison, Longjie and Yixiao. One was in the light element area, the other was in the dark element area. But the chances are slim. Lin Feng understood. If they wanted to take his life, they would have come long ago. And his true target wasn't the human exiles, but the demon exiles. The demon core of a low-level sky demon expert is 10 times more powerful than a high-level mysterious nether-earth demon. Not to mention middle-level and high-level sky demon experts. As long as I can kill enough demon exiles, I can get large amounts of demon cores. I can quickly increase my strength. Furthermore, the process of hunting exiles of the demon clan is also a rare challenge and warm-up. Lin Feng clenched Black Tigress, his battle intent clear. Enter the Nirvana realm. He would face large amounts of demon enemies. That was the true Blood Sea Hell, not as calm as the 33 continents. Now, he had to familiarize himself with the experience of dealing with Sky Demon experts. Sky Demon experts were just right for his current opponent, especially the Sky Demon experts of the Blood Pagoda realm prison. They were definitely cunning. They weren't easy to deal with. Moreover, his saber heart had reached the peak of the 12th realm. It was useless to practice the saber in seclusion if he wanted to break through. It was battle. Saber heart. I found my own path of saber. 3 days later. Lin Feng was slightly startled. Looking ahead, the bright sky was gradually turning dark, as if he had entered a pitch-black tunnel. The 2 sides of the world. That strange yet familiar feeling came again, but this time it went from light to darkness, the opposite feeling in the front. It's not the same. Lin Feng sneered. Perhaps it's the difference in the boundary, or it's the change in my holy qi. The feeling was very strange. Lin Feng slowed down and moved forward slowly. There seemed to be a scale underground, maintaining the subtle changes in energy on both sides. There seemed to be no barrier between light and darkness, but in fact, there was an invisible force that separated them. If I treat it as a fusion level, which stage is it? Lin Feng was curious. The 3rd stage of the limit was impossible because it required perfect harmony. But now, the light and darkness regions were separated, like well water and river water. In terms of fusion, it should be the 2nd stage, normal fusion. Although the 2 are separated, many places are compatible, such as the center of the entire space. Thinking carefully about the two regions, Lin Feng understood that this was not a flat world, but a sphere like Earth. The boundary between light and darkness corresponded to each other like the North and South Poles. Of course, the Blood Pagoda Realm Prison was much larger than Earth. Half of it was the light region, and the other half was the dark region, like two hemispheres combined into one. Thud! Crossing the boundary, Lin Feng returned to the dark region. I'm back. Lin Feng was full of fighting spirit, with a smile. This was the place where a large number of heavenly devil outcasts gathered, as Huang Qiong said. What came to him was strong dark energy and strong gravity suppression. His body felt squeezed, as if he had returned to the time when he first entered the Blood Pagoda Realm Prison. But this time it was different. The gravity suppression was stronger, and his body was more restricted. And the dark energy is also richer. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. In an instant, he was enlightened. I understand now. No wonder the same boundary between light and darkness has a different feeling. Lin Feng was enlightened. Chapter 704. There were 3 types of fusion. The first was a forced fusion, the second was a normal fusion, and the third was a perfect fusion. The further one went, the more difficult it would be. After all, it was the fusion of 2 different kinds of energy. For example, if a man and a woman got married, it would be easy for them to become friends and be together. However, if a man and a woman had completely different personalities, it would be very difficult for them to be together. It was the same for holy chi energy. Light and darkness are 2 completely opposite energies that repel each other. It's very difficult to force a normal fusion. Lin Feng had done countless experiments. Once the 2 energies were forcefully fused, it would explode and hurt the body, because they couldn't find a common point. The first condition for fusion is that it must be a perfect whole. Second, the fusion energy must be similar. It's best if it's equal to achieve a perfect fusion. Therefore, the strength of the fusion usually depended on the weakest holy chi. But even if they have the same energy, there are many variables. For example, in the 8th realm of the bloody evil world, the fusion of the holy chi of water and the holy chi of yin. The difference in the level of the holy chi causes the fusion state to be that the holy chi of yin contains the holy chi of water. It's mainly holy chi of yin, which has a stronger level of energy. The fusion didn't necessarily need perfect harmony. Although it couldn't achieve perfect coordination, it could still reach the second stage of normal fusion. Because of the suppression, holy chi of yin was stronger than holy chi of water. Actually, the uniqueness of the Blood Tower Prison is a kind of evolution of the fusion of the 8th realm of the bloody evil world. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. It was like dividing the dark element area into 2. Simply put, the energy went from shallow to deep. On the other side, the light element area was also divided into 2. Just like the north and south poles of the Earth, the 2 poles of the Blood Tower Prison are the 2 intersections. The first time I arrived at the intersection, it was the weakest part of the dark element and the strongest part of the light element. Now, it's the weakest part of the light element and the strongest part of the dark element. So, the 2 feel completely different. Lin Feng nodded. In the Blood Tower Prison, the total energy of the light element area and the dark element area was the same, but it was like an 8 trigrams pattern. The first intersection used strong light element energy to suppress the dark element. At the second junction, the tyrannical dark energy fused with the light energy. Even if there was no common point, the fusion could still reach the second stage. For example, even if one could not comprehend the true essence of the saber art, one could perfectly comprehend the shape of the saber through diligent practice. He displayed his skills to the fullest. Darkness holy chi and rainbow holy chi can be merged like this, but the key is it's in the middle. The core of the Blood Pagoda Realm Prison did not allow the light and dark energies to come into direct contact with each other. In terms of fusion, the core is the soul of the earth. Extreme misfortune was followed by bliss. For Lin Feng, that was how it was. He had originally planned to give up on the third goal, but now he had completed over half of it. He had a general understanding of the structure of the Blood Pagoda World Prison. However, to explore the true core content was a considerable process. For example, how to control the energy at the boundary, what was at the core, and what it did. There was not much time left. I'll leave these details for later. Practice was the truth. Lin Feng roughly understood the principle behind the fusion of light and darkness. If what Elder Gong said is true, the forced fusion of holy qi is equal to the perfect fusion of ordinary holy qi. If the holy qi of light and darkness reaches the standard of the Blood Pagoda World Prison, it can exceed the third stage of fusion. In other words, the normal fusion of two ultimate holy qi of the first class. It can directly surpass the ultimate class. Reach the ultimate class. Lin Feng's eyes were bright. There is a big difference between the first class and the ultimate class. There is also a big difference between the ultimate class and the ultimate class. Therefore, if there was a chance to reach the legendary ultimate class, Lin Feng would not hesitate. The stronger one was the greater one's future achievements and the greater one's chance of survival. Lin Feng knew very well that the chances of him catching up with Left Purple Pupil in 3 years were extremely small. It was a little improvement under normal conditions. It was impossible to catch up with her, because while he was improving his strength, Left Purple Pupil was also improving, and she might even be better than him. He had to take the risk. Before this, first, I'll improve my strength to the limit of the first week. This is where the dark energy is the strongest. It is also where Huang Xiong said a large number of Devil Clan exiles and 20 human exiles gathered. It is the most terrifying and dangerous area of the first prison of the Blood Pagoda World Prison, where dinosaur dire beasts wreak havoc. Lin Feng raised his vigilance. The strongest place in the area of light was where the human exiles gathered. But here, it was like a small nirvana world. Soon swoosh. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. A black shadow suddenly appeared in the distance. Under the extreme pressure of gravity, the black shadow was still walking on flat ground, and the sound of the air breaking was terrifying. Although Lin Feng could not see, his mind's eye was very clear. It was not a dinosaur dire beast, nor a human exiled. The first Devil Clan exile. Lin Feng slowly raised his titanium level 7th tier. The opponent's strength could not be detected, but to be able to survive in this area, it was not an ordinary person. It is at least a mid-level heavenly demon, and has the combat power of an upper-level heavenly demon. Lin Feng's fighting spirit was boiling. The black tortoise in his hand lit up with a fierce light, and the holy aura of void condensed, seeming real but illusory. The holy aura of void, which was now at the limit of Zizhou, surpassed the dark demon holy aura in all aspects. It was like a fish in water in this dark area, and its power was even stronger than the thunder dragon holy aura. Hiss! 2 sharp claws appeared in the air. It was a Devil Clan expert with a crocodile mouth and a lion head. Its bloody mouth opened and closed, emitting a foul stench, and the poisonous fog condensed into black fog. It was sticky and disgusting, and even covered the mind's eye in the originally dark area. What a powerful move! Lin Feng was blinded. Almost reflexively, Lin Feng blasted out a storm, sweeping up the violent lightning. The claw shadows on both sides blurred. Lin Feng raised his saber to block. In an instant, he felt a tyrannical impact and was immediately repelled. The black fog in the void was even more viscous, and all the senses that escaped into the black fog were stuck in a spider web. As expected, none of the Devil Clan exiles who can survive here are good people. Lin Feng's lips curved slightly. He had long guessed that the Devil Clan exiles were powerful, but it was still stronger than he imagined. But that was why it was interesting. This is a challenge. The black fog was so thick that it covered the sky, and the black tortoise in Lin Feng's hand condensed into ice crystals, flashing with rainbow colors. Facing the Devil Clan exiles who escaped into the black fog, Lin Feng suddenly shouted, and the temperature suddenly dropped. Crack! 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 The ice crystals solidified, and the whole area was covered in snow. The image of Qiyu behind Lin Feng looked ferocious. The power instantly exploded with ice and snow. New hail. Lin Feng waved his blade. Chapter 705. Sizzle. Sizzle. The white light contained within the saber energy corroded like a highly toxic energy. Hailstones had a unique freezing effect, which froze the thick black fog into ice cubes. Hailstones belonged to the category of ranged attacks. Its advantage was that it had a wide range and had a freezing effect. Its disadvantage was as obvious as its advantage. Simply put, it was not powerful enough. But the new hail made up for its weakness. Advanced profound meaning of light, demon annihilation light. The powerful piercing attack allowed the power of each layer of hailstones to seep into the bones and strengthen the freezing effect. The spiral arm of light allowed the hailstones to constantly change their positions, causing the hailstones to cover a larger area in a fixed area. It increased the area by several times, and there were no blind spots. The most outstanding thing was the demon annihilation light's own characteristics. It had a powerful killing effect on demons. Roar. The roar was extremely painful. White smoke rose from the crocodile-beaked demon hidden in the viscous black fog. Its half-scaled, half-iron body was covered in a thin layer of ice. Lin Feng raised his saber, and the spiral arm of light's effect was even stronger. All the attacks were focused on the crocodile-beaked demon. In the next instant, new sea cleaving, the same profound meaning of light combined with Black Lotus attack. The fast and accurate saber strike had a completely different feeling from before. The combination of light and darkness seemed to be more intimate than before. Chi. First one. Lin Feng took the demon core. Unlike the magic cores of demonic creatures, the magic cores of heavenly demons were the true source of the demon race's power. They possessed the origin of demons. Dark matter, hidden in every corner of the universe. It was the foundation of the demons. Mid-level Sky Fiend core. Lin Feng felt the energy dozens of times that of a high-level mysterious underworld Earth demon core. Although it was just a small Sky Fiend core, it was enough to increase his strength by more than 1%. It was not easy to obtain. The strength of the crocodile-beaked demon was comparable to a human who had just entered Nine Blood. With the help of the terrain, it was definitely an ordinary Nine Blood. Those who could survive in the harsh environment of the Blood Pagoda Realm prison were definitely not ordinary. Mid-level Sky Fiends are already so strong. Upper-level Sky Fiends, especially the cream of the crop among them. What kind of strength would they have? Lin Feng's eyes flashed. The clenched Black Lotus trembled slightly. That was anticipation and excitement. They did not have to wait for long. After killing 2 mid-tier exiled heavenly demons in a row, Lin Feng attracted the first high-tier exiled heavenly demons. 8th level of the titanium gray body. Lin Feng's body glowed with a golden light as his face turned serious. Hei Tong exploded with power. Even though he had already pushed his titanium gray body to its limits, the blue-haired heavenly demon in front of him was getting faster and faster, completely suppressing him. The attack power was abnormally tyrannical. Wave after wave, Lin Feng fought and retreated. An absolute 10 blood battle power. A demon that was even stronger than Ao, Jianhui, and Emohua. Blue Yu Fiend clan. He had Qi Fan's memories. Lin Feng was very clear about the origins of this blue-haired Sky Fiend in front of him. The unique characteristics of the Sky Fiend race were his blue hair and blue eyes. He was one of the rare, handsome men of the Sky Fiend race. He was completely different from the ferocious and ugly appearance of ordinary Sky Fiends. As such, the Blue Yu Devil clan was greatly favored by the devil women and devil concubines. One of the 10 great primal ancestor fiends, valiant and good at fighting, good at close combat, good at physical combat, but average at sensing dark energy. The sensing here was average. That was relative to the Sky Fiend race. In fact, the Blue Yu Devil clan's ability to sense dark energy was not bad. At the very least, it was better than most human warriors. It was just that their attainments in physical combat were much inferior. Therefore, every Blue Yu Devil clan expert would not cultivate the Tao of Darkness. Instead, they firmly walked the path of physical strength. Bang! Once again, he was pushed back. Lin Feng's chest rose and fell. His vortex body rapidly digested the terrifying force. The blue figure in front of him appeared again like a ghost, his speed astonishing. Such an opponent was the most troublesome for Lin Feng. His body was completely restricted. His physical combat was not weaker than his saber arts. His punches were airtight. Most importantly, he was very durable. I have to end this quickly, Lin Feng thought to himself. His titanium grade 8 stage had a time limit. He looked at the rapidly approaching Blue Yu Devil Clan expert. In the face of the incoming fist wind, a golden multifaceted ball appeared in Lin Feng's hand. It shone with a dazzling light. The Blue Yu Devil Clan expert was stunned, but he could not react in time. Hongmen Ball. Lin Feng directly used his soul to collide. The heavens were very fair. They gave the Blue Yu Devil Clan an extremely strong body. He had a handsome appearance and a perfect figure, but his soul was slightly weaker than other demons. He lacked the ability to resist soul attacks. The golden light enveloped the void. Suddenly, bang, a violent collision sound. The blue-haired Skyfiend's expression changed drastically. Although his willpower was strong, he could not resist a frontal attack. At such a close distance, he could not react in time. New Mountain Crumble. Chi. Lin Feng's attack was very fast. The New Mountain Crumble, combined with the heavy restriction profound meaning, was like a fish in water. The dark void holy chi exploded at its fastest speed. The blue-haired Sky Fiend could not resist at all. The heavy blow made the blue-haired Sky Fiend groan. The entire arm in front of him was directly shattered. But his reaction is so fast. Lin Feng thought to himself that this was troublesome. Although he was caught off guard, the blue-haired Skyfiend's reaction speed was not slow. He was only injured. Moreover, he made a prompt decision to use the impact to quickly retreat and widen the distance between them. With his speed, he could attack or retreat. It would be very troublesome. Lin Feng would not let go of such an opportunity. Whoosh! He quickly leaped out. Golden light appeared in his hand. In an instant, it condensed into a golden dragon. It roared with the might of the peerless true dragon saint power. Dragon form. Lin Feng used the 33 hands of object manipulation. The image of a dragon devouring an object chased after the blue-haired Sky Fiend. The blue-haired Sky Fiend, who had just regained consciousness, groaned in pain. He was hit again, but at the last moment, he deviated slightly. The golden dragon penetrated his chest, but it did not penetrate his purple palace. Avoid the vital points. Avoid. The blue-haired Sky Fiend roared in the Demon Clan's language. He suddenly turned and sped up. He's trying to escape. Lin Feng instantly understood. However, the difference in speed and his lack of control type holy treasure and profound meaning could not stop him. Seeing that the prey in his mouth was about to escape, suddenly there was a shrill sound of something breaking through the air. In the void, 3 dots of light appeared, forming a strange triangle. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 3 cold lights turned into 3 cold daggers. Like a triangular cone, they suddenly cut together. From big to small, the cold light rapidly shone in front of Lin Feng. Bang! The blue-haired Sky Fiend was beheaded. Chi! A ray of light broke through the air. The blue-haired Sky Fiend was cut into 2 from head to toe. Blood splattered everywhere. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng's eyes widened. His speeding figure suddenly stopped. The black tortoise in his hand condensed black fog. His fighting spirit was clear. It was not a good thing. In here, there was only one possibility for the blue-haired Sky Fiend's death. There was someone in the darkness who was stronger than him. The Banished One. Chapter 706. However, the expected danger did not appear. In the void, a childlike clear voice came from afar. Let me introduce myself. I am the Exiled One, Ishio. In the darkness, an earthy yellow light flashed, illuminating the vault of heaven like a star in the dark night. Oh! Lin Feng's eyes were like arrows. It was a young man with a height of less than 6 meters. He wore a silver-black soft armor and had no hair on his oval head. However, there was an earthy yellow mark on his forehead, like a ferocious roar of a demon beast. The most eye-catching thing was that there was a mini Paishio on his shoulder. Its 4 claws were tightly clamping onto his shoulder. Ishio, one of the 2 strongest people in the Blood Tower prison. Unfathomable. Lin Feng looked at Ishio and concluded that his strength was no less than that of the Blue Yu Demon Clan's expert. But why did he not attack him? Were the exiles and the blood assassins not enemies, fighting to the death? 10 blood assassin Lin Feng. In any case, since the other had introduced himself, Lin Feng could not ignore him. Ishio was startled. When did the Blood Tower have a 10 blood assassin? Not long ago, Lin Feng said. Clearly, Ishio knew the Blood Tower very well. Ishio grinned. Interesting, no wonder you are stronger than ordinary 9 blood assassins. You are also stronger than ordinary exiles, Lin Feng said calmly. Their eyes met. Ishio smiled. Don't worry, I mean no harm. Is it kindness? Lin Feng asked frankly. Ishio shrugged. The Paishio on his shoulder seemed to roar unhappily, but the sound was not loud. You can say that, Ishio said. I can help you kill the extraterrestrial devil exiles here. Lin Feng looked at Ishio. His seemingly young face hid many secrets. Will you help me, or I help you? Ishio laughed. Is it different? Lin Feng looked at Ishio. He could not see through him. He was very mysterious. Kill 10 blood assassins. Then you can leave the Blood Pagoda Realm prison and regain your freedom, Lin Feng said. Ishio smiled and said, It's also very free here. Cultivation is much faster than outside. After I break through and enter the second hell, there will be more opportunities and challenges. Why would I leave? Moreover, do you really think killing 10 blood assassins is easy? Lin Feng fell silent. Ishio's eyes lit up. Destiny is in your own hands. I don't need the pity of the Shuelo cult. What's more, I'm just a piece of cake. Why should I be used? He could see through everything. Instead of risking his life for a goal that he might not be able to achieve, why not work hard to improve himself and work hard for a more long-term goal? Can I trust you? Lin Feng looked at Ishio. Of course. Ishio smiled. Trust. Sometimes all it takes is a look. He didn't use too many words. It was purely a feeling, but Lin Feng felt that Ishio could be trusted. Not for other reasons, but just his strength alone was enough to make him feel a deep sense of dread. He was able to kill an upper-level heavenly devil-banished one with just a wave of his hand. If Ishio had wanted to kill him that day, his chances of success would have been very high. Chi, chi, chi. 3 rays of cold light condensed into a triangular shape. The sound was clear and bright, as if it was piercing through space. It directly killed another upper-level heavenly devil. Punk, flesh and blood splattered, and an upper-level heavenly devil core appeared. So, Punk. Lin Feng received it. He kept it in his bag. Until now, he still did not understand what Ishio's goal was. It was as if he only killed for the sake of killing. He used himself as bait to lure out the heavenly devil-banished one, and Ishio waited for the opportunity to launch a sneak attack. In a short day, he had already killed more than 30 heavenly devil-banished one. The number was terrifying. Although the number of heavenly devil-banished one far exceeded the number of human-banished one, 30 was close to 10%. To fight for territory? Lin Feng was curious, but he didn't ask because he wouldn't get an answer even if he did. If Ishio wanted to say, he would naturally say it. Continue to cooperate. To Lin Feng, there was no harm. He could obtain a large number of heavenly devil cores, and the danger was greatly reduced. Under normal circumstances, even if he could kill upper-level heavenly devils, his battle strength would be greatly depleted, especially since the recovery of titanium elemental energy was relatively slow, and in this miniature nirvana world, every moment was dangerous. Other than the heavenly devil-banished one, there were also dinosaur dire beasts. Roar! A thunder dragon dire beast fell to the ground. The tyrannical strength of a level 9 dire beast was not below that of an upper-level heavenly devil-banished one, and even surpassed it. The only thing they lacked was their brains. They had a tyrannical and powerful physique, their affinity with nature, and all kinds of super strong sensing abilities, but they were deprived of their intelligence. The heavens were fair. Schwa. Lin Feng directly kept the Thunder Dragon Dire Beast into his storage ring. You really don't refuse anyone. What do you want so many Dire Beast corpses for to eat? Ishio's clear voice sounded. To collect. Lin Feng casually replied. Ishio. Lin Feng naturally would not reveal too much. He did have plans for this large number of Dire Beast corpses. If he could make good use of them, their value would not be less than the demon god's heart. But now that he was cooperating with Ishio, revealing too much would not benefit him. Ishio was using him, but wasn't he also using him? Only with benefits could they walk together. Their cooperation was becoming more and more tacit. In the constant killing, Lin Feng's battle skills were also slowly improving, and he learned a lot from Ishio. Ishio was good at assassination and used a dagger as a weapon. Direct confrontation was not his forte, but once his attack exploded, it was quite terrifying. But he had always been curious about what the mini pie shio on Ishio's shoulder was, and he had never seen it used. Huff, Lin Feng sighed lightly. The 100th. On the first day, he killed 30 Heavenly Devil Banished One. But the number decreased every day, and now it was the 7th day, and the number of Heavenly Devil Banished One had just reached 100. The further he went, the fewer Heavenly Devil Banished One. Lin Feng also understood that although they were not afraid of killing and longed for freedom, it did not mean they were stupid. The devil race was also an intelligent creature. They would also be afraid. Will they come? Lin Feng put away the heavenly devil core and suddenly said. In the darkness, there was silence. How did you guess? Ishio's voice slowly sounded. Just guessing. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. He had already fought side by side with Ishio for 7 days, and he had more or less understood his character. He was more open and upright than he thought, hunting the heavenly devil banished one after another, and gradually eliminated one possibility after another. In the end, there were only a few answers left. Unless Ishio had nothing to do, there must be a reason why he helped him kill the heavenly devil banished one again and again. He wanted revenge. How strong is that heavenly devil banished one? Lin Feng asked. Ishio was silent for a moment and slowly said, among all the heavenly devil banished one here, he is ranked 2nd. Chapter 707. Purple-eyed Moji, Shu Gui. Lin Feng's brow furrowed. A familiar memory floated into his mind. He had once encountered a purple-eyed Moji, and even now, he felt like there was a thorn in his back. The Purple-Eyed Moji clan was one of the 4 great ancient Mo clans along with the Chiyu clan. I'm the only survivor of my clan. When I was 6 years old, the Dark Shio clan was swept away by the Mo clan. At the time, I was lucky enough to escape because I was playful. After growing up, after many years of investigation, I finally found information on the Slayer, but I did not expect that Shu Gui had already been captured by the Blood Tower. Ishio's eyes were blurred. So, later on, I also entered the Blood Tower prison. Lin Feng was slightly surprised. You entered the Blood Tower prison on purpose. Ishio nodded, his eyes flashing with cold light. To kill her, I am willing to pay any price. Lin Feng was silent. From Ishio's words and actions, it could be seen that he was not lying to him. That thin figure hid such a deep blood feud. For revenge, Ishio did not hesitate to sacrifice his own freedom, just to take revenge for his clansmen and family, to kill his enemy. He was a person of temperament. No wonder he is not hostile to the blood assassins. Lin Feng finally understood. From the start, Ishio did not want to regain his freedom. For him, as long as he could take revenge, even death was not a problem. She may not come out, Lin Feng said. No, she will definitely come out, Ishio said firmly. I understand Shu Gui very well. She has the greed and cunning of the Mo clan. As long as the prey is valuable enough, she will hunt at all costs. For the Omen exiles, the heads of the 10 blood assassins are very precious because they can be exchanged for freedom. So no matter what, she will act. But Brother Lin, you have killed 100 Omen exiles in a row, which has caused the remaining Omen exiles to be wary. No one dares to act rashly. They're all waiting for a chance. Lin Feng nodded. Right now, it was like the calm before a storm. It seemed calm, but it was very likely that a thunderstorm would occur in the next moment. Who is the strongest in the Blood Tower prison? Lin Feng asked curiously. The warden. Ishio did not hesitate. Lin Feng smiled. That was an accurate answer. The warden in charge of the first prison. Naturally, they were stronger than the other exiles. Other than the warden? Lin Feng asked, is it poor Tiger, who ranks first among the extraterrestrial devil outcasts? No, it's not him. Ishio answered. Lin Feng said softly, is there a warrior stronger than Xionghu among the human exiles? Ishio shook his head. No, but Long Jie is the strongest in the light region. But here, my strength is still a level lower than Xionghu's. Even if I face the arcane puppet head-on, my chances of winning won't exceed 30%. He's probably ranked 5th. 5th place. It might seem like a very low ranking, but that wasn't the case. After all, the demons had a natural advantage in the dark region. It was normal for Ishio to be slightly weaker. Moreover, the 5th rank was already a high ranking among the 300 or so heavenly devil exiles. The Blue Yu Devil Clan powerhouse was only ranked 5th. The difference was huge. Brother Lin, your strength is already one of the best here. If we face each other head-on, even I don't have the confidence to win against you. Ishio said, among the heavenly devil outcasts, you can probably squeeze into the top 10. But you cultivate the innate soul bloodline, which just happens to counter the arcane puppet. If we meet with the combined strength of the two of us, our chances of winning are very high. What needs to be said, I've already said it. If you want to withdraw now, I won't force you. Lin Feng smiled. Since I promised you, how can I give up halfway? Lin Feng said, but I may not have much time left. If I still can't meet the arcane puppet within the time limit, you'll definitely meet it. Ishio's eyes lit up. Lin Feng smiled and nodded. Then I wish us success. Straightforward. Ishio grinned. Lin Feng couldn't do things like burning the bridge after crossing the river and getting rid of the donkey. In these 7 days, because of Ishio's help, he was able to obtain a large number of heavenly devil cores. There were 100 of them, enough to raise his strength to the limit of Child Week. But he didn't get anything. In terms of sentiment and reason, he should fulfill his wish. As a person, he should put himself in someone else's shoes. Moreover, he also wanted to see how strong the second-ranked powerhouse of the heavenly devil-banished ones was. By the way, Brother Xiao, you haven't told me who's the strongest here? Lin Feng rushed forward again, exploring this area of darkness. The strongest? It's the local overlord here. Level 9 dire beast. T-Rex. The calm before the storm. Do you feel anything? Lin Feng frowned. The smell of blood. In the darkness, Ishio's deep voice came. Lin Feng nodded lightly. The smell of blood is stronger than before. He was full of doubts. He had been in this area for quite some time, and rarely had he seen such a strong smell of blood. To be precise, the 300 over heavenly devil banished were reduced by a third, and their battle with the dinosaur dire beast should also be reduced by a third. But now it was more than doubled. It's very abnormal. Ishio was also somewhat uncertain. Lin Feng was secretly vigilant. Even an old man like Ishio who stayed here all year round did not know what had happened. Unless it was a coincidence, otherwise it was definitely very dangerous. It could not be a battle between human banished and heavenly devil banished, because humans were small and their numbers were even fewer. There was only one source for such a strong smell of blood. Dire beasts. There is only the smell of blood, and no corpses, because demons could devour the flesh and blood of dire beasts to strengthen themselves. And in this area, the largest number of dire beasts were dire beasts, more than 1,000 times more than humans and demons combined. Could it be, did the demons and dire beasts start a war? He could not find the answer, because the demons seemed to have suddenly disappeared. Lin Feng went from hunting 30 devil banished on the first day, to now, there were only 1 or 2 devil banished every day. The number of devil banished was unusual, and even Ishio could not make sense of it. In his estimation, no matter how much the demons endured, there should be at least 5 or 6 devil banished every day. Something must have happened to the demons. Ishio said, I hope it's a good thing. Lin Feng nodded. The two slowed down and advanced cautiously. Right now, it was as if the wind was howling, lightning was rumbling, and a thunderstorm was about to fall. Traveling in this pitch-black area, Lin Feng inexplicably felt his hands and feet turn cold, as if a huge monster was about to arrive, and his heartbeat quickened. Thump, thump, thump. Like a drum beating in his heart, Lin Feng frowned slightly. Pa! Pa! The ground beneath his feet was shaking, and the thick soil cracked open, as if the entire area was collapsing. A terrifying pressure came down like the sky, and Lin Feng was horrified, but he did not know what was happening. At this moment, Ishio's shout thundered in his ears. Run, Brother Lin. It's the Tyrannosaurus Rex. He's coming. Chapter 708. Tyrannosaurus Rex. The overlord of the Jurassic dinosaur era on Earth, at the top of the food chain. Today, it was still the top existence in the Blood Pagoda prison. A Class 9 dire beast, but it was comparable to the mid-tier Beast King, the darling of the Earth. If not for its stupidity, its strength would be at least a whole level higher. Even so, the Tyrannosaurus Rex was still an invincible existence in the Blood Pagoda prison. Run. Although Lin Feng couldn't see it, his mind's eye could sense that a gigantic mountain range was rumbling towards him. Every step it took created a gigantic crater in the dark region. The terrible gravity of the dark region was not enough to stop the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Instead, it allowed it to unleash its strongest body. Even if the strongest heavenly devil-banished tiger and arcane puppet worked together, they would not be its match. Lin Feng remembered Ishio's words clearly. A true prehistoric Tyrannosaurus Rex. Of the 36 stratagems, escape was the best. Lin Feng knew very well that his and Ishio's combined strength was only equivalent to arcane puppet's level. They had no chance of winning against the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Although he was confident, he was not conceited. There was no need to fight the Tyrannosaurus Rex head-on, especially now that he had already achieved his goal. He only needed to find arcane puppet. Whoosh! Lin Feng ran quickly, but a deafening roar suddenly rang in his ears, causing his eardrums to vibrate. Behind him, the footsteps that sounded like meteorites were getting heavier and heavier. It was getting closer and closer. What? Not only did Lin Feng's expression change, but Ishio was also stunned. Brother Shio, it's chasing us, Lin Feng said. The majestic aura behind him was like his sword technique landslide, pressuring him. Lin Feng's forehead was covered in cold sweat. Ishio, who was leading the way, changed direction, but there was another roar. Bang! 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 The earth shook violently, straight to the heart. The Tyrannosaurus Rex also changed direction. How could this be? This time, even the usually calm Ishio panicked. He had encountered the Tyrannosaurus Rex more than once, but he had never seen it pursue them so relentlessly. Moreover, the Tyrannosaurus Rex was not only strong. Its speed was also extraordinary. It was the strongest among the dinosaur dire beasts. Rip! Roar! The terrifying, tearing sound of a Tyrannosaurus Rex came from behind. Lin Feng didn't look back, but his eyes clearly saw a dinosaur that couldn't escape in time, being torn to shreds. After a few bites, it was swallowed. The Tyrannosaurus Rex became even more violent. Pung! Lin Feng's heart trembled. The smell of blood may not be from the battle between the demons and the ferocious beasts. This thought suddenly appeared in Lin Feng's mind. It could also come from this crazy Tyrannosaurus Rex. As far as he knew, dire beasts didn't actually kill each other. When a dire beast's strength reached the level of a dire beast, it didn't need to eat. They just needed to absorb enough energy for cultivation. However, this Tyrannosaurus Rex was slaughtering its own kind. There must be a reason. Lin Feng pursed his lips, but he didn't have time to think about what the reason was. Because even if he knew, it would be useless. The current situation was the key. Boom! Rumble! The earth shook again. In just a moment, the Tyrannosaurus Rex chased after them again. Its target was Lin Feng and one Xiao, as if it had an irreconcilable enmity. Brother Xiao. Lin Feng's expression was serious. Choose one of the two paths. One Xiao who was running in front suddenly paused. He clearly understood what Lin Feng said. The current situation was very clear. They could choose to fight or flee. They had to make a prompt decision. If they wanted to flee, they had to flee separately. Each of them had a 50% chance of survival, but the remaining one was basically a death sentence. The other path was fight. Both of them fought to the death. Although they didn't have the slightest confidence, they couldn't lose a battle. No one knew what the result would be until the last moment. What do you think? Wan Xiao gradually calmed down. Lin Feng smiled. His bright eyes flashed with a burning light. The black skeleton in his hand lit up. Rather than abandoning my companions and running away, I'd rather fight to the death. Wan Xiao laughed heartily. Then let's fight. Running away wasn't the way to solve the problem. Face it. Z. Lin Feng directly unleashed the 8th level of his titanium gray body. Fighting against the strongest Tyrannosaurus in this dark region, the 7th level wasn't even qualified to withstand it. In fact, even the 8th level was in imminent danger. New Broken Sea. Lin Feng's blade momentum was like 1,000 caddies, unleashing absolute power. It kept strengthening. However, the Tyrannosaurus beast fiercely waved its palm. It was mixed with rich, dark energy and the mystery of the earth. Every strike was quite terrifying. Living in this dark region, this Tyrannosaurus beast also had quite a lot of dark energy. Holy aura of hell. Lin Feng was directly sent flying by the terrifying force. Although it was just a forced fusion, but the Tyrannosaurus beast was really too shocking. Not only did it have terrifying strength, but it also combined the holy aura of earth and the holy aura of darkness to form the holy aura of hell. Gritting his teeth, the moment he was sent flying, Lin Feng attacked with the golden feather in his hand. Dragon form. Pong. The Tyrannosaurus beast raised its head and roared, resisting with its body. The sturdy and heavy scales made a clanging sound of steel. Supported by the protection of the holy aura of hell, the darling of the earth had the mystery of the earth in its every move. At this time, Xiao finally attacked. 3 cold lights wrapped around the Tyrannosaurus head, fast and accurate. Triangular killing technique. Xiao's signature move had always been successful, but this time it was defeated. Pong! As the Tyrannosaurus roared, a shock wave of the mystery of the earth split open. Although it didn't shatter the 3 cold lights, it instantly shattered the unformed attack. With a violent roar, Xiao suddenly rose into the air. He pointed his finger at his forehead, and the yellow energy kept flashing. Pa! 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 Pai Xiao, who had been on his shoulder all this time, suddenly grew in size. Boom! As Pai Xiao roared, a huge stone mountain fell from the void, pressing down on the Tyrannosaurus. Pong! Pong! The huge stone mountain grew bigger. Pai Xiao roared again, and the earth sank as if to bury the Tyrannosaurus beast alive. Take advantage of its illness and take its life. Xiao's dagger flashed, turning complicated into simple, stabbing straight at the Tyrannosaurus' eyes. A cold light suddenly appeared, and the Tyrannosaurus beast, who was fighting with the huge stone mountain, couldn't react in time. It suddenly closed its eyes, and with a clanging sound like a blacksmith strike, Xiao's attack instantly erupted, piercing through the skin of the Tyrannosaurus beast's eyes. Pong! A lightning-like attack directly blasted towards Xiao. If he didn't dodge, he would be seriously injured even if he didn't die. Damn it! Xiao's expression was ugly as he blocked with his dagger. Holy aura energy gathered in front of him and turned into a shield. His reaction was very fast, but it was not faster than the tyrannical attack of the Tyrannosaurus beast. In one move, Xiao directly vomited blood and retreated. At this time, the left eye of the Tyrannosaurus beast had already broken open, and blood flowed out. What a pity! Just a little bit more. But at this moment, whoosh! A bead that was infused with the power of the true dragon pierced through the Tyrannosaurus's eye with lightning speed. Pong! It directly exploded, and blood splattered everywhere. Dragon Abyss Pearl. Chapter 709. Roar! A roar of anger and pain rang out. The Tyrannosaurus fierce beast was furious, blood flowing out of its left eye. Although the face of Xiao that was sent flying by the Tyrannosaurus fierce beast was pale, it revealed a smile. Lin Feng's attack timing was ingenious. It was just a hair's breadth away. This was the tacit understanding of cooperation. When the Xiao was repelled, Lin Feng immediately stepped forward. He could not give the Tyrannosaurus fierce beast any chance to take the initiative to attack. Otherwise, they would not even have a chance. As long as the Tyrannosaurus fierce beast was smart enough to focus on one person, the outcome of this battle would be decided. But, after all, the Tyrannosaurus fierce beast was stupid. New storm. Lin Feng's blade rose sharply. The storm combined with the profound will of the sea god, causing the entire sky to rumble with thunder. Vortexes of thunder devoured the surrounding space and spun rapidly, like a violent thunderstorm. The small vortex turned into a large vortex, and the large vortex turned into a huge lightning vortex. Chi! The bone-piercing blade energy directly struck the Tyrannosaurus fierce beast. His strongest move. Lin Feng clearly knew that he could not drag out the battle with the Tyrannosaurus fierce beast, because he was a real monster. At this time, the Pai Xiao in the air had already become incomparably huge. The huge stone mountain was disintegrated, but in an instant, meteorites fell wildly, directly striking the Tyrannosaurus fierce beast. Compatible divine beast. Lin Feng finally understood. He had seen it before in the glory realm. Rip! Lin Feng's blade spun like lightning, directly attacking the injured eye of the Tyrannosaurus fierce beast. The furious Tyrannosaurus fierce beast swung its tail whip, bringing with it the heavy pressure of the profound will of the earth. The holy aura of hell exploded, directly breaking through Lin Feng's blade energy. Clang! Lin Feng's left hand suddenly shot out another dragon abyssal pearl. The golden dragon swallowed the tail whip, and a violent, clanging sound resounded. Race for time. Chi! The power of the new storm was fully displayed, but this time, the Tyrannosaurus fierce beast had time to counterattack. Although its tail whip was restrained, other places were fine. It opened its bloody mouth wide and directly attacked. As long as it was bitten by it, no matter how strong its defense was, it would be shattered. Lin Feng's eyes moved. He changed from a stab to a chop, aiming straight for the upper jaw of the Tyrannosaurus rex. In an instant, another dragon abyssal pearl shot out from his left hand. This time, the attack directly passed through the T-Rex's mouth and shot towards the unprotected throat. Dong! The Tyrannosaurus Rex's massive body swayed as it let loose a pained cry. Whoosh! It was a frightening palm strike. Lin Feng, who had just finished his continuous attacks, was unable to defend himself in time. The Eternal Thunder Pearl armor resisted the attack. Lin Feng hurried to use his defense Upanishad, but he couldn't stop the massive force that was as powerful as a planet. Puff! Spitting out blood, Lin Feng was seriously injured. This was the price he had to pay to injure the Tyrannosaurus Rex. The huge figure in front of him suddenly appeared, but this time, another fierce figure appeared. It was wrapped in an earthy yellow aura. It was the mythological beast Pai Xiao, which forcibly bought time for Lin Feng. Boom! With a single move, his flesh and blood were sent flying. Tyrannical power. The Tyrannosaurus Rex roared fiercely, its injuries causing its battle strength to soar even more as it crazily attacked Lin Feng. However, with the mythological beast Pai Xiao buying him a moment of time, Lin Feng had already unloaded a portion of the force. Even though he had suffered some injuries, he still had the strength to fight. Too terrifying. However, there was no time to be afraid. Other than fighting, Lin Feng could see nothing else in his eyes. His persistence and determination caused his heart to completely condense as he stared at the Tyrannosaurus Rex in front of him. The wild howl contained a natural domineering aura, and the black lotus in Lin Feng's hand was deeply infected. It was the opening of a door, the comprehension of a heart. Saber heart. Everyone has their own unique path. A unique saber, and my saber is the Overlord saber. Using the Overlord as a saber, Lin Feng was lucky. He did not use hatred like Fu Hongxue and was taught everything by Xiang Yu when the future of the saber was uncertain. He had mastered the great Tao of the saber. The heart was driven by the Overlord's battle strength, and now it had reached the third level. Compared to other martial artists, Lin Feng's understanding of the heart was more thorough. Saber heart was also a kind of heart. Pung. Lin Feng was still holding the saber, but his aura was different. There was a saber heart in his body and a breakthrough in the realm under the strong battle. It caused his saber to suddenly sublimate to a level, and the saber world quickly spread out, fighting with sword heart and fist heart again and again. Lin Feng was already familiar with it. At this moment, there was no joy, only attack. New Storm. It was the same move, but it brought out a different aura. The Wild Thunderstorm was still the same, but Lin Feng's saber was more domineering, and the strength of the aura was no less than that of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. In the face of the sharp palm wind, this time, Yi Ziq and Lin Feng did not retreat. Boom! Using human strength to resist the heavens, the strong and unparalleled absolute ruthlessness passed through He Tung and directly into his body, but it stimulated Lin Feng's madness. His eyes were completely violent and pitch black, and He Tung's third power, bedevilment, exploded. Demonization. The demonic power in his body awakened. The third meridian diagram flashed, and the ferocious beast in the depths of his heart was awakened. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Feng completely ignored his injuries, and his strength exploded again and again. After bedevilment, his body was closer to that of a demon. Not only was his physical strength strengthened, but his battle was even crazier, and his understanding of the seven limits was more thorough. Ishio at the side gritted his teeth and waited for an opportunity, but he was shocked by Lin Feng's sudden outburst. He didn't see wrong, right? A mere Zizhou limit human was actually fighting a rank 9 Tyrannosaurus Rex head-on. Not good. Lin Feng, Ishio shouted. He could see that Lin Feng was enduring every blow, and he was using his life to fight and his willpower to endure, completely overdrawing his strength. Madman. He was really a madman. But Lin Feng wasn't crazy. He clearly knew what he was doing. Bedevilment would indeed cause one's character to become violent, but it wouldn't affect one's heart because one's willpower was strong enough. But he had to rely on this madness because there was no other way. To deal with this crazy Tyrannosaurus Rex, he had to be even crazier than it was. 5 slashes, 10 slashes, 20 slashes. Lin Feng's titanium gray body had already dissipated. Forcefully hanging on to his last breath, Lin Feng could no longer feel the existence of his body, but the taste of bedevilment was deep in his bones, like a reaction of his heart, a resistance of his willpower. The Tyrannosaurus Rex's fighting strength drove the body's strong, unyielding spirit. Lin Feng's blade ignited a raging flame, like a raging fire burning. Rapid air friction, the precise use of force. This blade was like a burning flame, leaving a comet tail. At this moment, the blade technique was perfectly integrated, perfectly comprehended. New raging flame. Lin Feng used the last of his strength and erupted with a surging blade. Where the blade reached, it cut through the entire sky, cut through the entire world, and the craziness of his willpower erupted to the extreme. When the blade fell, Lin Feng's eyes were only left with flames and darkness. The countless times of urging caused his body to lose the last of its strength, and his consciousness dispersed into nothingness. Boom! With one slash, the earth was set ablaze. Chapter 710. Ugh! Lin Feng felt intense pain all over his body. His consciousness was a little blurry as he was still immersed in the last slash. The fifth style of the seven limits, Raging Inferno, coupled with the high level of darkness, Nether Mist, had unleashed an extreme attack power that completely overwhelmed the third style, New Storm, in terms of direct attack power. But after that slash, Lin Feng suddenly opened his eyes, which were bloodshot. His body felt as if it had fallen apart. His entire body was empty, and his bones felt as if they did not belong to him. His surroundings were suddenly filled with white light. This was not the dark region, but light region? Lin Feng was slightly startled. He did not understand what had happened. He was clearly fighting with the Tyrannosaurus vicious beast in the dark region. Then awake? A clear voice came from beside him. Lin Feng turned his head and saw the figure of Xiao. His cheeks were a little pale, and the yellow mark on his forehead was very dim. The most surprising thing was that the mini pie Xiao on his shoulder had already disappeared without a trace. But there was one thing that was certain. We're all alive. Lin Feng sighed. Yes, alive. Xiao revealed a smile. Being alive is more important than anything else. Lin Feng nodded. What happened after that? Xiao laughed. The strongest existence in this Blood Pagoda realm prison. The monster that everyone fears. The Tyrannosaurus vicious beast. You beat away. Beat away? Lin Feng seemed to be deep in thought. He is so strong, I used all my strength and even condensed my blade heart in the end, but I still couldn't kill him. How could it be that easy? Xiao shook his head. The Tyrannosaurus vicious beast is the darling of the earth. Its strength and defense are all top-notch, and its body flow is the strongest when combined with the path of the earth. If it wasn't for the fact that he was too stupid and was beaten silly by you, we would probably have died there. Soon, Xiao explained the situation at that time. Lin Feng listened carefully. In fact, he was already unable to continue after entering the demonic state. He was only relying on a burst of qi to hold on, and in the end, all of his strength exploded. After the qi dissipated, his consciousness naturally collapsed. If it wasn't for his tyrannical foundation, he would have been unconscious for a long time. Dragon Abyssal Pearl's 3 attacks, 2 of them slightly injured the Tyrannosaurus vicious beast. One was his left eye, and the other was his throat, but it only made him bleed a little and did not hurt his foundation. This enraged the Tyrannosaurus even more. The real injury to the Tyrannosaurus Rex was the hard collision of the last slash. Not only did the Tyrannosaurus Rex's domineering aura sink, but the new fire also burned a big hole in its body, heavily injured the Tyrannosaurus Rex. In the end, you still stood with the blade in your hand and did not fall. Xiao looked deeply at Lin Feng. I was completely stunned at that time. The Tyrannosaurus Rex, which had been severely injured, howled in pain and the earth shook. I thought it was going to attack you, but it turned and ran away. Only then did I realize that you had already lost consciousness. Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. Speaking of which, we were really lucky. If we were facing an exiled one, I'm afraid we would have been killed long ago. So that was the case. Lin Feng smiled and said, This Tyrannosaurus Rex is really stupid. Xiao sighed. Stupid is stupid. His strength is really indescribable. This terrifying body makes even the demons tremble in fear when they see it. He is born with a keen sense of strength and skills, the darling of the earth. This Tyrannosaurus Rex is even more amazing. It is even proficient in the path of darkness and condensed the holy aura of hell. Indeed, Lin Feng sighed. If he was given a smart head, just thinking about it was terrifying. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was indeed worthy of being the former overlord of the earth. Lin Feng recuperated on the spot, with the assistance of the vortex body. After waking up, his recovery speed was extremely fast, which made Xiao, who was guarding at the side, exclaim in admiration. In just a short day, he had recovered 50%. Brother Xiao, wait for me for another day. Lin Feng said softly. How much can you recover? Xiao looked at Lin Feng. Don't force yourself. There will be plenty of time in the future. Lin Feng smiled and said, Give me another day and I can recover about 80%. My current strength is 80% better than before. With Brother Xiao waiting for an opportunity, I believe that as long as the sorcerer puppet appears, we will be able to catch it all. I'll definitely be able to catch them all in one fell swoop. There was no time. Lin Feng clearly knew that his 3 months were about to end. Counting the day of recovery, there were only 4 days left. Time was too tight. No matter what, he had to help Xiao fulfill this wish. These days of getting along, they had shared life and death. The battle with the Tyrannosaurus Rex had established a deep friendship. Even in a certain death situation, they did not abandon their comrades. After he fainted, Ishio even took him out of the dark region and came here to recuperate. This was their friendship. By the way, Brother Shio, your compatible divine, Beast Pai Shio. Lin Feng hesitated. Compatible divine beasts were rare, not to mention legendary divine beasts like Pai Shio, and it was not easy to raise them. If it were not for him, Brother Shio's compatible divine beast would not have died. Brother Lin, don't feel guilty. It is not a compatible divine beast, but natal divine beast. Ishio said, natal divine beast? Lin Feng was curious. Ishio pointed to his forehead. This is the unique bloodline of our Dark Shio clan. We can split a part of our soul and condense it into a natal divine beast, complementing each other. Because we have the bloodline of ancient divine beasts in our bodies, it attracted the attention of the demon clan and met with a disaster. Lin Feng suddenly understood. A typical case of treasuring a jade ring becomes a crime. The five-tailed snow fox was the same. A compatible divine beast is a unique life, but a natal divine beast is different. A natal divine beast is split from my own soul. Ishio said, when I recover, I can condense a new natal divine beast, but I need to start cultivating it again. What a pity. Lin Feng sighed softly. No matter what, Brother Shio lost a lot this time. Ishio smiled and did not care too much. To be honest, a natal divine beast can help a lot in cultivation, but it is not much help in battle, because it is often not as good as a real divine beast or fierce beast. Another characteristic of our Dark Shio clan is that we are close to the ancient divine beast Pai Shio. If we can meet a divine beast with the Pai Shio bloodline, we can even be compatible when it reaches adulthood. Compatible when it reaches adulthood? Lin Feng asked curiously. As far as he knew, no matter if it was a divine beast or fierce beast, there was a chance of success when it was young. That is true, but whether it will succeed is unknown. Ishio sighed. Unfortunately, I am the only one left of the Dark Shio clan. Do you have any plans? Lin Feng asked. Ishio's eyes suddenly sharpened. Kill the Shuga? What happens after you kill her? Lin Feng asked again. Ishio paused for a moment, then closed his eyes and shook his head. I don't have any family in this world. It doesn't matter where I live. As long as I can avenge the Dark Shio clan and kill the arcane puppet, my life is worth it. Lin Feng looked at Ishio. Ishio was actually in pain because his heart was occupied by hatred. But this was the path he had chosen. I will definitely help you fulfill this wish. Lin Feng's expression was calm, but his voice was firm. Thank you. Ishio smiled. Chapter 711. One day later. Not going back? Ishio asked. Lin Feng looked at Ishio. Do you think Shu Luo is observing us in secret? Ishio hesitated. With her personality, it's very possible, Lin Feng said. Although I can't figure out why the Tyrannosaurus Rex suddenly went berserk, I'm sure the sorcerer puppet you mentioned must be secretly observing us. She might even know about our battle with the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Ishio pondered. So you don't think Shu Luo will appear? Lin Feng asked. If you knew that your enemy was evenly matched with the Tyrannosaurus Rex, would you still want to kill him? Definitely not. Ishio shook his head. The demons are bold, but I believe Shu Luo won't take such a big risk, unless she thinks I'm seriously injured, Lin Feng said. I see. If you return to the Dark Region safely, the puppet won't dare to show up. But if you stay here, the puppet will think that you are recuperating and will take the chance to attack you. Eugene sighed softly. I understand. Brother Lin, if you return safely to the Dark Region, the puppet won't dare to show up. But if you stay here, the puppet will think that you are recuperating. Lin Feng nodded. I can only say there's a chance. What if she doesn't come? Ishio frowned. If she doesn't come, even if I enter the Dark Zone, she won't appear. Lin Feng said she must know the rules of the Blood Pagoda Realm Prison and know when I entered. With her intelligence, she must know that the last day is the day with the highest probability of assassination. Ishio was thoughtful. 3 days from now, Shu Luo, as a demon concubine, mainly cultivated the demon heart and not the demon core. Like human sacred power cultivators, the ability to sense the world was secondary. Her brain was definitely much smarter than normal demons. The closer it was to the end, the easier it was for the blood assassins to relax. Just like when a mission was completed, this was the best time to launch a sneak attack. Also, if I were Shu Luo, known for her caution and cunning, I would observe for 2 days before deciding whether to act. Lin Feng said, there was more than one blood assassin. If he missed his Shu Luo, he could still wait for the next batch of blood assassins. Sure enough, on the second day, there were demon clan powerhouses crossing the border and coming over. In the region of light, the strength of devil race experts would be greatly restricted. Yet they still took the risk. It was enough to see how tyrannical and greedy the demon race was. Pung, pung. When Lin Feng clashed with his opponent, he did not display his titanium gray body, deliberately conserving his strength. Chi. His chest was cut open, triggering his old injury, causing blood to flow out. Since he was putting on an act, he had to go all the way. Boom. After another collision, Lin Feng spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated. The heavenly devil banished one on the other side wasn't in a good condition either. He glared at Lin Feng hatefully while heavily injured, and then he quickly flew away. Not a single show appeared. This was because Lin Feng was luring the snake out of its hole. If he didn't arrange for a spy to return and report, how could he lure out the mastermind behind the scenes? Anyway, for Lin Feng, he already had enough heavenly demon cores. One more or one less made no difference. The third day, the last 12 hours, Lin Feng remained calm. He sat cross-legged like an old monk in meditation. He knew that it was highly likely that the puppet would not appear. If they were human warriors, they would not appear no matter how much he tried to deceive them. However, it was different for the arcane puppets. She was a demon race expert. She was brave and fierce, willing to do anything to achieve her goal. To the demon race, being timid was shameful. The last 6 hours, sweat seeped out of Ishio's hands. He was very worried. He was worried that Lin Feng was about to leave. It was impossible for him to kill the puppet alone. He didn't know when a next opportunity like this would come. Time passed minute by minute. Ishio hid far away, afraid of being discovered. After all, the puppet's sensing ability was quite strong. Suddenly, why? His eyes suddenly opened, and Ishio's heartbeat quickened. He inexplicably felt a familiar aura descend, not far away. Then the battle began. Ishio felt all the blood in his body boil. She's here. She's here. She's finally willing to come out. Ishio clenched his teeth, exploding with full speed. 9th level heavenly devil, puppet. Lin Feng had already sensed her the moment she appeared. Although the puppet's demon heart was a level higher, Lin Feng's innate soul was also at the 9th level. Especially the true dragon holy power was abnormally strong. Facing the distant purple eyes, Lin Feng's eyes instantly lit up. One of the 4 ancient great demon races, the purple-eyed demon race. This was the only one of the 4 ancient great demon races that had more females than males. With the Moji as the female, it was easier to cultivate the demon heart. The purple-eyed demon race was divided into 3 grades. The lowest grade was miscellaneous, the middle grade was Shu, and the highest grade was Zhua. With the ancient demon race's purple-eyed bloodline, complemented by the demon heart, it was always successful. When the purple-eyed demon race's clansmen reached the heavenly devil level and activated the first grade of the bloodline, they could use the Shu surname. It represented a kind of identity and recognition. The first grade of the bloodline's characteristic was the purple eyes, and if the second grade of the bloodline was activated, they would be crowned with the Zhua surname and be the top existence of the purple-eyed demon race. Purple eyes left purple-eyed's eyes, it's light purple. It was not Lin Feng's first time facing the purple-eyed demon race. The strength of the left purple-eyed had left an indelible impression in his heart. The purple eyes flashed in front of him, evoking the dusty memories in his heart and going straight for his weak spot. But it could not shake him at all, because Lin Feng's willpower was too strong. He could even immerse himself in the illusion and maintain his original heart. Without the true eye-sacred power, just the mysterious black hole whirlpool in the 3rd meridian diagram had a powerful force that could suppress all illusions. Break! The illusion in front of him shattered like a mirror. Lin Feng looked directly at the purple eyes in the distance. Her illusion was not as good as Isia's. Whoosh! The purple eyes disappeared instantly, but Lin Feng had expected it. Bang! The titanium-grade body exploded, and an eighth grade flashed with golden light. Lin Feng shot out like an arrow, his eyes full of killing intent. You want to escape? You can't escape. Lin Feng's eyes burned. Another reason why he chose to fight in the region of light was because of this. This place was extremely disadvantageous for demon race experts. Almost instantaneously, clang, the black dragon pulled out the black skeleton and roared. The powerful energy emitted from his heart evoked the Overlord's power, and an invisible force spread out instantly. Blade whirled. The warlock's curvy and sexy body trembled, and her body shook. Countless invisible forces surrounded her. The arcane puppet's expression turned ferocious. She roared and shot out numerous dark shackles from her hands. As she roared, a hell giant wrapped in black fog appeared behind her. The arcane puppet fought back with all her might. But she was facing Lin Feng, who had mastered his blade techniques and had transformed his strength. Her strongest killing move was countered by Lin Feng, and a direct confrontation was not her forte. Lin Feng's hailstorm fell one after another, instantly injuring the warlock. With a groan, the warlock's face turned pale, and her delicate body shook violently, and she fell back. She gritted her teeth and was about to escape like a cunning fox, but the moment she turned around, the warlock's eyes widened. Go to hell, witch! The warlock welcomed the anger of a Xiao that had been suppressed for more than 30 years. She exploded. Chi! 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 Countless rays of light flashed, and the warlock was directly dismembered, turning into ashes. Along with the appearance of the demon heart, another flash of light floated in the air. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Chapter 712. A storage ring. It was a human storage ring. Pa! Reaching out to take it, Lin Feng instantly understood. For demon elites who cultivated demon cores, they couldn't use human storage rings and could only use the most common demon storage rings, which couldn't be integrated into their bloodline. But Moji, who cultivated demon hearts, was different. In essence, warlocks and human sacred power cultivators were not much different. Not too concerned, Lin Feng took it directly. Demons were greedy and warlike by nature. There was basically nothing good in the storage ring. If one was lucky, there would be something like demon cores, sacred crystals, sacred fruits, and so on. Most of them were demon rations, demon beasts, and ferocious beast corpses. Along the way, he collected more than 100 demon storage rings. The value was probably not even 100 million Emo dollars. The most valuable were some of the demon's secret cultivation methods and power skills, but to humans, they were incomprehensible and couldn't be cultivated at all. Swoosh! A heavenly demon heart was in hand. For Lin Feng, who urgently needed pure, sacred power energy, this upper-level heavenly demon heart was the most valuable. But when his eyes fell on the dazed Xiao, Lin Feng flicked his finger and the upper-level heavenly demon heart flew directly to Xiao. Whoosh! Xiao turned his head reflexively. A light flashed in front of him and caught the heavenly demon heart. His eyes were extremely complicated. Damn it! Gritting his teeth, Xiao seemed to have used up all his strength to vent his holy qi, which surged wildly into the heavenly demon's heart. In an instant, it shone brightly and shot out from the heavenly demon's heart. Qi, qi, qi. Streams of sacred qi mixed with sacred power light. In an instant. Boom! The priceless upper-level heavenly demon heart was turned into ashes. This is a destination. Lin Feng looked at Xiao and knew his current state of mind very well. It was as if he had been pursuing one thing all his life and spent all his energy, but this thing was completed in an instant, causing Xiao to lose his life goal, and the road ahead was blank. But it's also a starting point. He didn't disturb Xiao. Lin Feng knew that this hurdle could only be crossed by Xiao himself. Everyone had to experience some things and understand failure in order to succeed. This was especially true for one Xiao, who had lived in hatred for more than 30 years. Other than taking revenge, he was cultivating madly. It was inevitable that he would be at a loss. Sitting cross-legged, Lin Feng closed his eyes and calmed his mind to sense everything around him. Even if he only had a few hours left, he didn't want to waste it. He sensed this region of light and sensed the mysterious and powerful energy at the center of the earth. The combination of darkness and light was like a giant 8 trigrams. The colors were different, and the center was where the origin core was. Like a person's heart. Control everything. Magnanimity is great. Think of it as the soul of the earth. The biggest variable between Dark Saint Chi and Rainbow Saint Chi is how it can perfectly integrate these two extreme energies. This was the key. If I can comprehend it, I'll be able to fuse Void Holy Chi and Rainbow Holy Chi. It's a normal fusion. Brother Ji, Lin Feng said. Ishio was still somewhat absent-minded. Lin Feng looked at Ishio, his eyes telling him. He still hadn't figured it out. He couldn't be blamed. After all, it had only been a few hours. For a martial artist who had been immersed in hatred for more than 30 years, time was too short. But, I'm leaving, Lin Feng said softly. Oh, Ishio looked over. Thank you. Lin Feng smiled. I should be the one saying thank you. Thank you for your help during this time. Ishio's lips curled up, revealing an unnatural smile. It's time to plan for yourself, Brother Ji. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. There are many miles in life. I believe that your path has just begun. Think about what you like to do and empty your mind. Sometimes we often limit ourselves to a small world. But in reality, the world is much bigger than we think. If you want to leave here, tell the warden and let him inform me. Lin Feng nodded. I will do everything I can to help you leave the Blood Pagoda Realm prison. Ishio was stunned. Goodbye. Lin Feng smiled. As he spoke, his body flashed and disappeared without a trace. Ishio was left with his lips tightly pursed. His empty eyes were more lustrous than before. It felt like a lifetime ago. Coming out of the Blood Pagoda Realm prison, the first thing Lin Feng saw was the old Elder Ji. A pair of old eyes stared at him, faintly with some expectation. Lin Feng knew that, like Ishio, this was Elder Ji's pursuit. The pursuit of the fusion of Holy Chi and the ultimate power. He couldn't do it, so he pinned his hopes on the next generation, as if he wanted his son to become a dragon. Did you get anything this time? Elder Ji's voice was hoarse. Yes. Lin Feng smiled. His voice was resolute and decisive. Back to the 9th floor of the Blood Pagoda. Lin Feng went straight into seclusion. It was not a long 3 months for him, but he had taken a big step forward. Not only had he completed the original 3 goals, but he had also completed the 4th goal. The heavenly demon cores were absorbed into his body for the 3rd meridian diagram, turning into pure energy to turn the gears of the 1st and 2nd meridian diagrams, strengthening the talent soul and the spirit of the earth. The absorption efficiency was amazing. While improving his strength level, Lin Feng practiced the saber. Condensing the saber heart was just the beginning. The saber heart has many realms. The initial enlightenment of the saber heart is like Shueishu. Above that is the realm of Goddess Wakamin, who fought fiercely in the Battle of Glory. Above that is the realm of the Goddess Wakamin. It is Ao Jianwei. Lin Feng knew very well. In essence, the saber heart and the sword heart were no different, including the fist heart. This was a kind of momentum, a kind of power of the heart. Stabilizing the saber heart. Lin Feng began to practice the last 2 moves of the Tiger Spirit's 7 limits. The 6th move, Destroy the Earth. The 7th move, Swallow the Sky. The ultimate power could only be unleashed after condensing the saber heart. The scene of Qi Yin practicing the saber was deeply engraved in his mind. These 2 moves were far more powerful than the previous 6. Storms, hailstones, raging flames, and so on were mixed with various energy forms. But Destroy the Earth and Swallow the Sky were the most direct manifestations of power. The essence of strength skills. It was very difficult, but the harder it was, the stronger it was. At the same time, Lin Feng's strength level was also slowly increasing. On the 3rd day, the spirit of the earth reached its limit. On the 5th day, The rainbow light Saint Chi child reached its limit of 8 levels. On the 6th day, the true dragon Saint Chi child reached its limit of 7 levels. On the 7th day, the talent soul reached its limit. After entering the Nirvana world for a year and 10 months, Lin Feng went from an ordinary human warrior to the peak of the 33-continent strength level. 100% mind expanse, perfect body, 3 types of ultimate Saint Chi, and 1 type of ultimate Saint power. To Lin Feng, the Nemo powerhouse was now within reach. He only needed one last step, fusion. But before that, there were still many things that needed to be resolved. Lin Feng's eyes widened in shock as he opened the storage ring of the purple-eyed evil concubine. Chapter 713. It was a huge egg. The exquisite patterns contained rich earth energy and a decent amount of dark energy. The 2 types of energy intersected, bringing about a wonderful feeling. Lin Feng was stunned. Looking at the 3-meter-tall egg in front of him, his heartbeat quickened. He had seen all kinds of dire beast eggs and divine beast eggs in the glory realm, but he had never seen such a huge one, especially the aura contained in the eggshell. A figure involuntarily appeared in front of him. It was as terrifying as the sky, a behemoth that was completely invincible in the same level. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Lin Feng was stunned. Could this be the egg of the Tyrannosaurus Rex? Lin Feng stared at it closely. The more he looked, the more it looked like it. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was the darling of the earth. It was born to control the power of the earth. The dinosaur dire beasts that grew up in the Blood Pagoda prison all had dark energy. He had fought the Tyrannosaurus Rex head-on, so he was very familiar with its energy. Other than being a little stupid, the Tyrannosaurus Rex had no shortcomings. Its perverted talent is even comparable to the legendary ancient divine beasts and ancient dire beasts. Lin Feng sighed. Those were all legendary existences. The divine beasts and dire beasts that existed today only had part of the bloodline of the ancient divine beasts and dire beasts, just like humans. Overall, the Tyrannosaurus Rex is also a top existence among all the dire beasts and divine beasts. If this egg is the descendant of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Compatible with the dire beast. If he could be compatible with the Tyrannosaurus Rex, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. But it can only be successful when the dire beast is young. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Generally speaking, the success rate would be higher when the compatible beast had the same energy. For example, to be compatible with the Tyrannosaurus Rex, it was best to be a martial artist who cultivated the holy chi of earth or holy chi of darkness. But he only had the holy chi of darkness that matched the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Even if it's a perfect match, the success rate will not be more than 20%. Ferocious beasts are naturally violent and ferocious. They are not bound by any restrictions. The success rate of the fusion is much lower than that of divine beasts. It's only about 1/10 of that of divine beasts. If I want to fuse with it, if I only use the Dark Saint Chi, the success rate would be extremely low. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. If it was a divine beast, it would be fine. But a ferocious beast, it was too difficult. No matter what, let's give it a try. It's good if we succeed, but it doesn't matter if we don't succeed. Lin Feng was unperturbed. It was an unexpected gain to begin with. Naturally, he didn't feel too burdened. Looking at the giant egg, Lin Feng smiled faintly. In order to harmonize, he had to let the little Tyrannosaurus Rex break out of the egg first. He still had to wait. I wonder how long it'll take. He left the cultivation room. The 2 women had been waiting for a long time. One in red and one in white complemented each other. One was delicate and charming, while the other was pure and lovely. It was Manzi and Snowblowing. Nirvana realm. Lin Feng looked through the 2 girls. After 3 months, the 2 girls who came out of the 9 blood passage had easily reached the Nirvana realm. They had perfect bodies to begin with. With the help of the Heart of Glory, completing the Holy Chi fusion was a piece of cake for the 2 girls who were brimming with talent. Sister Manzi and I have to go, Brother Lin. Snowblowing nodded slightly. What about you? Manzi glanced at him. Lin Feng replied, there's still some time. Manzi giggled. You're really busy. Lin Feng smiled. It's difficult to come back after entering the Nirvana realm. There are many things that need to be resolved. Otherwise, it'll affect your state of mind and cultivation if you keep it in your heart. Shimanzi said softly, That's true. She then smiled and looked at Snow Blowing. But Sister Blowing Snow and I are both alone. There's nothing to worry about. We just need to say goodbye to Master. Brother Lin, take care. Snow Blowing said. Lin Feng nodded. I'll come to find you soon. Okay, Snow Blowing replied. Shimanzi's red dress was faintly discernible. She looked pure and seductive. Shimanzi was like an angel that had fallen into hell, enough to make any man's heart palpitate. Shimanzi took out a harmonica and looked at Lin Feng with her beautiful eyes. She blinked her eyes playfully, and the sound of the harmonica, mixed with a unique rhythm, rang out. The sound of the harmonica was beautiful. It was like spring, but also had the heat of summer. It made people's hearts itch. Lin Feng didn't know what Shimanzi meant, but he stood there quietly and listened. The soft sound of the harmonica went straight into his heart. Even if he didn't understand music, he could feel the beauty of the harmonica. It touched the softness in the depths of his heart. Lin Feng closed his eyes and enjoyed this beautiful moment. When the music entered his ears, Lin Feng's nose twitched. A fragrant wind entered his nose, and he opened his eyes. Tisk, a dragonfly skimmed the surface of the water. In front of his eyes was Shimanzi's delicate and charming face. Her voice was both angry and admonishing as it quietly circled around his ears. 2 patches of red appeared on his rosy cheeks. Her red sleeves were spread out in front of his eyes like a piece of cloth, and a fragrance surrounded him. In the blink of an eye, Shimanzi had already disappeared. Lin Feng was stunned. He didn't know what had happened. Snow Blowing looked at him with deep meaning. When their eyes met, Lin Feng felt a bit awkward. Brother Lin, you don't understand? Snow Blowing asked. Yes. Lin Feng nodded. Manzi and I have fought side by side before, but we don't know each other that well. Today's kiss from 2E. I don't know what she meant. Snow Blowing said softly. What's the meaning of a kiss from a girl? Lin Feng was shocked. Manzi to me. Snow Blowing's eyes flickered. Sister Manzi is a disciple of Palace Master Hong Ying. She dares to love and hate. Brother Lin, don't be fooled by Sister Manzi's bold style. She is charming and seductive. She is very affectionate. If she likes something, she dares to express it. She is different from ordinary girls. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. For a moment, he was stunned. Could it be? Lin Feng said hesitantly. No. Snow Blowing looked at Lin Feng. Brother Lin, have you not heard the music just now? Lin Feng shook his head. He had never touched music before. Snow Blowing said softly, This music is called Phoenix Courting Phoenix. The hardest thing to accept was a beauty's favor. Facing Shimanzi's confession, Lin Feng didn't know how to react. Fortunately, the 2 girls left and entered the Nirvana world. As for Lin Feng, while calming his mind, he didn't waste any time. He returned to the 33 continents. This time, he didn't need to hide. Demon, Executioner, and other nicknames resounded in the 33 continents. However, the most popular one was the Blade Demon. Lin Feng's name was well known in the 33 continents. He slaughtered the Nirvana God Mountain and annihilated the Nirvana God sect. So what if he was evil? So what if his hands were stained with blood? In the 33 continents, what mattered was strength. Who dared to provoke Lin Feng? To be continued. Chapter 714. East Spirit City. It was one of the largest cities in the Eastcom continent. It was prosperous. Crisscrossing commercial streets created the prosperity of East Spirit City. Some were rich, some were poor, some lived in peace and contentment, and some were struggling to survive. In East Spirit City, other than the treasure refining sect, the Rising Sun Chamber of Commerce, the East Pole Palace, and other major forces, the City Lord's Mansion was the most solemn and heavily guarded. It was surrounded by military districts that guarded the Eastcom army. In the middle was the person with the greatest authority in the Eastcom continent, East Spirit's City Lord. Stop! The Eastcom soldiers guarding the periphery of City Lord Manor reached out to stop him. City Lord Manor is an important place. Unauthorized personnel are not allowed to enter. Several Eastcom soldiers were very proud. Their neat attire and standard military armor evoked memories in Lin Feng's eyes. He had been pursued by the Eastcom army more than once. Starting from Changyang Mountain City and then to East Spirit City, the Eastcom army was the one that had killed the most human warriors. "Are you deaf?" shouted an Eastcom soldier. "This isn't a place you should be." Boom! Lin Feng waved his hand. The dark void holy aura transformed into a force and killed an Eastcom soldier. Before the other 4 Eastcom soldiers could react, the dark void holy aura blasted into their bodies and devoured them by the darkness. "Who are you? How dare you?" In the distance, a patrol team of Eastcom soldiers roared and rushed over. Lin Feng stretched out his left hand. In an instant, the menacing lightning dragon roared out. The lightning dragon holy aura at its peak could even kill a chi cloud expert, let alone these small fries. Screams of fear suddenly sounded, but they instantly disappeared. It was only for an instant, but it was like a warning bell. Lin Feng's face was expressionless as he stepped in. He was here to end the grudge. Although East Spirit City Lord wasn't the main culprit, he couldn't escape responsibility. As for these Eastcom soldiers, he didn't have much enmity with them, but it was impossible for him to let them attack. "Here it comes. Then kill." The word benevolence was very distant to Lin Feng. Boom! Boom! He did not use his saber, but Lin Feng's attack was abnormally powerful. Blood splattered everywhere, and the ground was littered with corpses. None of them were a match for him. Countless Eastcom soldiers rushed over. They turned into piles of skeletons. Lin Feng pointed directly at the city lord's mansion. "Blade Demon! Oh my God! It's the Blade Demon! It's over. Run for your life." Soon, Lin Feng was recognized. His name was enough to scare people to death in the 33 continents. Batches of Eastcom soldiers abandoned their armor and fled. They were hired to begin with, so how could they be loyal? Against the infamous Blade Demon, one would be an idiot if they didn't run. Resisting was just a show of bravado. Even the dignified 10 swords killing god, the second largest sect, had been destroyed. How terrifying was Blade Demon Lin Feng? City Lord's mansion. The Dongling City Lord was serving tea with a smile on his face. "This is a small token of appreciation from Dongbai. I hope that teacher can help me more in the future." The East Spirit City Lord was now missing an arm, and there was a deep scar on his face, all thanks to Ao Jianwei. Even so, he still managed to keep his life and power. The one who spoke was a long-browed Taoist. He nodded bluntly. "Elder of the East Spirit Palace, He Quan, 3rd stage Nirvana Ascension." It was precisely because of the East Spirit Palace's support that Dongbai could sit firmly in the position of City Lord. Dongbai had always been ambitious. He wasn't willing to just sit in the position of City Lord and be a puppet. He wanted to climb higher and higher. I didn't expect the dignified Nirvana sect to decline one day. The East Spirit City Lord sighed softly. However, he felt refreshed and relieved inside. Feeling his empty left hand and the deep scar on his face, he wanted nothing more than to kill Ao Jianwei. He heard that Ao Jianwei had been killed. Even the Nirvana sect had been robbed clean. He felt so good from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head. Blade Demon Lin Feng, runner-up in the Battle of Glory. Now he's at the top of the glory list. The long-browed Taoist He Quan's eyes flashed. If the East Spirit Palace had such a talent, it wouldn't be difficult to expand our influence to the 33 continents, let alone dominate the Eastcom continent. Blade Demon Lin Feng is indeed powerful. The East Spirit City Lord sighed. A figure named Lin Feng involuntarily appeared in his mind. He couldn't help but laugh. The first time he heard the name Lin Feng, he was shocked. The young man he and Ao Lin had chased down that day was named Lin Feng. However, people had the same name. Not to mention, Lin Feng's name was too common. There were at least 8,000 people in the entire Eastcom continent. "Dongbai, what are you laughing about?" He Quan asked curiously. The East Spirit City Lord replied, "I was thinking about the kid who killed the Nirvana sect's young master, Ao Lin. His name was also Lin Feng. Later, Ao Jianwei chased after him. It's been a year since then. He Quan nodded. I heard from Hong Dao that our East Spirit Palace tried to recruit him, but He Quan frowned slightly and looked at the East Spirit City Lord. I've seen Blade, Demon Lin Feng, at the Battle of Planet Brilliance. He's very young. If he has a grudge with Ao, Jianwei, and the Nirvana sect, could he be the kid you sent to kill that day? The East Spirit City Lord was stunned. That can't be. That kid was only at the Cyclone stage back then. He can't have improved so much in just a year, right? He Quan hummed softly. That's true. The corners of the East Spirit City Lord's mouth twitched slightly. He forced a smile and said, Don't worry, Master. It's just that people have the same name. That should be the case. As soon as he finished speaking. Not good, City Lord. The panicked voices of the Eastcom soldiers came from outside the manor. The East Spirit City Lord turned his head abruptly, an ominous feeling rising in his heart. Thud! The Eastcom soldiers knelt on the ground and said in fear, City Lord, Blade Demon. It's Blade Demon Lin Feng. Swoosh! Swoosh! The East Spirit City Lord. He Quan's expression changed. Blade Demon Lin Feng has charged in. The Eastcom soldiers trembled violently, as if they were convulsing. He stepped into the city Lord's manor alone. Dressed in a light martial suit, Lin Feng charged straight in. The surrounding Eastcom soldiers either fled or scattered. Occasionally, some ignorant soldiers would shout and attack, but they couldn't even get close. Every move he made was filled with the aura of an expert. With Lin Feng's current realm, he could even pick flowers and leaves to injure his enemies. He didn't need to draw his saber. He could raise his hand and use it. Saber heart. In front of him, the City Lord's manor building was mighty and domineering, revealing absolute power and strength. Suddenly, pung! A hole appeared in the sky above the City Lord's manor. A figure in Taoist robes rushed out. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. The golden feather in his hand instantly transformed into the shape of a dragon. Accompanied by the golden dragon's roar, it shot out like an arrow. A tragic cry sounded in the air as the figure was immediately shot down. A Nemo expert? Lin Feng was slightly surprised. His figure flashed and stood in the air. Black dagger was unsheathed like a black dragon devouring everything. His saber tore through the sea and descended. Taoist long-browed, He Quan didn't even have time to react. He was shocked and horrified. In the next moment, he was devoured by the dark aura and reduced to ashes. Pa! Lin Feng stood with his saber in hand and looked down. The East Spirit City Lord's legs trembled. His face was pale, and his eyes were filled with fear. To be continued.